Good evening. We are bringing you commentary today of Manchester United versus Leicester City from the Premier League. I'm your alternative host, Russ Vernon. You're listening to Football Commentary Live. I'm also joined by your commentary team for this evening's match. Jack Cunningham is going to be alongside Matt Iles, and we'll go to Matt first. And Matt, looking at the two lineups today, Manchester United making 10 changes in the debut for Elanga up Thomas on comes this evening for us. Matt, what do you make to the changes that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's made tonight? And Leicester have only made two changes from their game of the weekend. What do you make to both lineups, starting with the 10 changes that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's made for Manchester United?
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. I think obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been bemoaning the fact that United have got to play, 4 games in a week, which is obviously absolutely unprecedented in this current climate. But of course, given what has happened over the last year and this crazy old season, it's something that they didn't really want because it was already hectic as it is. So I'm not surprised he's made 10 changes. I think it's also as well to prove a point that, if he did play his strongest players, you look at the bench tonight, Wan-Bissaka, Henderson, Lindelof, Fernandes, McTominay, Rashford, Cavani, you could probably say they would probably be starting, wouldn't they? They'd be, he's looking ahead to Liverpool on Thursday, so I can't say I'm surprised at that. But I did expect maybe a lot less than 10. But then, to be fair, as I said, I'm not surprised. But Leicester, they need to win, don't they? They're right back in the top 4 race, dragged back into it with obviously, West Ham, as well in there, Chelsea and Liverpool, Tottenham and possibly Everton as well. So they, of course, need to win. Yes, the FA Cup final is important for them, but of course, they don't want a repeat of what happened last year. So every game from now to the end of the season for Leicester is just as vital as the next one.
It is indeed, mate. You're absolutely spot on there. And if you just look at like you say, look, Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's probably looking ahead to that Liverpool game on Thursday in the back of his mind. And if you look at the way Inacho and Vardy have, in particular, both those two have played for Leicester, how big is it that the likes of Baye Twanzebe, who are a centre back tonight for Manchester United, keep the likes of Inacho, Vardy, include even Jose Perez quiet, and even if he comes on James Maddison, how is important is it if they keep those 4 players I've just mentioned there quiet this evening, Matt?
Well, it is very important. I mean, obviously, Jamie Vardy isn't quite in the best vein of form right now. I mean, obviously, on the opposite side of that, you've got Kelechi and Acho, who everything he hits at the moment is practically a goal. So obviously, they've got to do a lot to keep him quiet. And obviously, Maddison is on the bench, somebody who's had a few, sort of run-ins, if you like, with the press, obviously, and had a few injury concerns. So obviously, they'll have to contend with him when he comes on. But you've got Jose Perez playing just behind the 2 strikers. He can be creative when he wants. You haven't really seen the best of him at Leicester so far. But, yeah, as you rightly said, the main man there to look out for is Kelechi Iheanacho, Russ.
Yes, and also, man, just another one with regards to Manchester United. If they lose this evening, Manchester City will be Premier League champions. How do you feel Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will have set out his players tonight, and what do you reckon his final message will have been to his players as we see Leicester just made their way out onto the field of play? But what do you make? What do you reckon regarding that situation?
Yeah, I think it'll just be basically saying, look, just keep them waiting a little bit longer. I think he said a tongue-in-cheek comment, didn't he, on Sunday after the Aston Villa game, that he didn't want to see Manchester City celebrating. That's all they can do. Keep on winning and just keep letting Manchester City wait. And I think that's what his message will be. Just keep on winning, keep our momentum going first and foremost. And second thing, keep the blue side of Manchester waiting for that title.
Yes, and the two teams are on the way out. Leicester already come out. Manchester United making their way out onto the field of play. So let's hand over to your match commentator. It's alongside Matt Tiles. It's Jack Cunningham. Good evening, guys.
Manchester United against Leicester City looked to be a dead rubber a few weeks ago, with Manchester City cruising to the title and the Foxes looking comfortable in third. Leicester's form, though, has rapidly declined, and they were on the receiving end of a 4-2 humbling last Friday as the Magpies went to the King Power and stole the 3 points, leaving their top 4 status in jeopardy. And with the FA Cup final looming, Rodgers probably could have done with having the top 4 done and dusted. Instead, he has had to travel to the Theatre of Dreams, and though there are 2 changes, this is a strong Leicester side as they look to exercise the demons of last season's spectacular collapse. So Leicester's lineup is Kasper Schmeichel in goal, Timothy Castagna, Wesley Fofana, Carlos Sionchu, Mark Albrighton, Yuri Tielemans, Wilfred Ndidi, Luke Thomas comes in for Ricardo Pereira, Ayoze Perez comes in for James Maddison, Kelechi Iheanacho, and Jamie Vardy. And for Manchester United, well, it's their first home game since the 2nd of May when the incredible scenes on the pitch saw the Liverpool match abandoned. In truth, it was probably the last thing that the Red Devils needed, and it has left them with a fixture pile-up that has led to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ringing the changes with 10 in all. So Manchester United's lineup, the only player to survive from their 3-1 win over Aston Villa is Mason Greenwood, and they line up as follows. So it's David De Gea in goal, it's Brandon Williams, it's Eric Bailly, Axel Tuanzebe, Alex Telles, Nemanja Matic, Donny van de Beek, Juan Mata, Amad Diallo, and a Premier League debut for Diallo, and a full Manchester United debut for Anthony Elanga and Greenwood up front. So this should be a fascinating encounter. And joining me on Football Commentary Live as your co-coms is the fantastic Matt Iles. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm not too bad, Jack. Looking forward to this one.
Indeed. I mean, we had a brief chat about it, didn't there, just with Russ before. And, well, you know, Man United have rang the changes. Elanga, Man United debut. Diallo, Premier League debut. Brandon Williams has only played 7 minutes of league action before this. Bailly, who's only played 9 league appearances before this. So, you know, he's bringing in quite a lot of players in from the cold, isn't he?
Absolutely right. I mean, obviously, it's a big night, you could say, for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because if he comes off with this, he looks like an absolute genius, doesn't he? He is looking ahead to Liverpool, as I said to Russ just before the players came out of the tunnel. I think that is the big game in his mind. But obviously, he's made 10 changes. He's almost trying to prove a point, isn't he? Saying, look, this is a squad game. I can't play my first team against Leicester. It is a big game. I don't think he is intending, to be fair, any disrespect. I think it is just because of the schedule that he's almost forced his hand to make all these changes. But yeah, it's a big night for some, as you said. You know, Diallo, Brandon Williams, and Elanga have had barely any minutes as well. Donny van der Beek, Tuanzebe, Bailly, Telles. So big night for all involved for sure.
Yeah, and then obviously looking at it from a Leicester point of view, I mean, no one was expecting Newcastle to go there and they were 4-0 up after 65 minutes or whatever. Leicester came back at the end, but it was a formality really. So for Leicester, I mean, luckily West Ham's result went their way. And you could say other results went their way at the weekend, but it's still a huge game for them. And just as the players take the knee, as the fight against racism continues, and we are going to be underway here, and it's Manchester United kicking us from left to right. And it is an empty Old Trafford, but not for very long. The last home game without fans, as Boris Johnson finally confirmed that fans can return. And it's David De Gea, and he looks to ping the ball out in the direction of Diallo, brought down well in the midfield. And this is now Tielemans. Tielemans sliding it through to, well, in the direction of Mark Albrighton, but it was a good tackle by Telles. Albrighton made his 250th Leicester appearance today.
Yeah, it's a big night for Mark Albrighton, isn't it? He's pretty much made a home as a right wing back, isn't he? I mean, obviously Rodgers has come in and has employed that back three. Obviously, it's usually Evans, Soyuncu and Fofana, but obviously it's forced Castagna to play in there. But Albrighton, so versatile. He will get up and down the pitch. He can get up and down, as I said. He will defend. He will attack. He's got the legs for someone in his, mid-30s. So he is somebody who really does add a lot to this Leicester team, both defensively and on the attacking front as well.
Yeah, straight away. So it looks like Greenwood is the striker and Juan Mata is in behind him. And it looks like Elanga is on the left wing and Diallo is on the right wing. It'd be interesting to see if that sort of changes around. And this is now back with Wesley Fofana. Both Fofana and Sionchu, well, they were pretty awful on Friday, to be honest. That's a great ball by Fofana, though. Luke Thomas only making his 12th Premier League appearance this season. Given away poorly in the midfield there. Picked up by Thomas. Thomas can't find Ayoze Perez and Diallo gets his first touch of the ball. And maybe showing a bit of rustiness there, but he just prods it straight out of play when he probably should have found great Mason Greenwood, and Leicester have the ball again. Be interested to see who's going to have more of the possession. What you expecting Leicester to dominate the ball and Man United hit more on the counter-attack, or do you think the home side will assert their authority?
I think it's certainly the first option, what you said. I mean, obviously, Manchester United are a team under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that are very devastating on the counter-attack usually. Obviously, it's a much changed sort of attack with obviously Elonga, Ahmad and Juan Mata. So obviously, it will be interesting to see whether or not the midfield of Van der Beek and Matic can get the ball out quickly. But, don't be surprised if Leicester do keep the ball. Obviously, they've got Yuri Tielemans, who is a talented, accomplished player on the ball, likes to get it down and play, and obviously as well, they've got Ndidi as well, who can obviously pass the ball. So it will be quite interesting to see how that plays out. But I do think, is as you rightly put out, that Man United will be quite happy to sit in, let Leicester have the ball, and if the chance opens up, go on, hit the Foxes on the break.
This is now Nemanja Matic across to Axel Tuanzebe, who's a player who they do think he's got a bright future, but he's still played less games for Man United than he did for Aston Villa in a loan season. So he's not really had a lot of game time. So this is a big opportunity for him. And as we mentioned earlier on, a lot of the rest of these Man United players, because Bruno Fernandes has missed only 2 games all season. So it's been impossible for the likes of Donny van de Beek to get in the side, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously as well, there's one person at the club that currently isn't there that's obviously forced to go out on loan because of how good Fernandes has been and his impact in the team is Jesse Lingard. I mean, obviously, Van der Beek has struggled to get into the first team. I think, it is a real shame sort of how the move has panned out for the Dutchman. But obviously just sort of elaborating on an earlier point that, you said, Jack, it is a big night for some of these United players because obviously, I spoke about Brandon Williams. I think he's only had a few minutes. Tuanzebe, of course, whose probably finest hour this season was when he was forced to go in at centre-back at Paris Saint-Germain and was superb that night. I think he actually got man of the match, if I can remember rightly. So it is a big night for him. And obviously as well, Eric Bailly, somebody who is completely forgotten, you could say, given he's had so much hard luck with injuries and so forth. So it is a big night for a lot of these players and a real chance to show people, that if there is an injury to any of the stronger first teamers or more of the regulars under Solskjaer, they're ready and waiting to come in and fill the void left behind.
De Gea with a divine ball out to Alex Telles, but he can't link up with Elanga, and it's picked up by Wesley Fofana. Fofana looks like he's going to be joined by his good friend Boubakary Soumaré, who looks to be joining the Foxes in the summer. And Fofana did give it away slightly on Twitter. He then deleted the tweet, but it does look like that Leicester are going to continue their strong recruitment with Soumaré in the summer. This is Fofana, finds Mark Albrighton just over the halfway line. Albrighton sends the ball in behind for Iheanacho. It's picked up by Jamie Vardy. Vardy's got Iheanacho in the box. Slips it through Tuanzebe's legs, but he can't quite link up with Iheanacho. And there's Nemanja Matic showing all those years of experience coming across and dealing with the danger. And it's a corner to the Foxes, and we're 5 minutes in. And it is Manchester United 0, Leicester 0, and nothing's really happened so far.
No, not at all. This could be an opportunity for Leicester. We know about Soyuncu's height for Fofana. It's Leicester from set pieces. Haven't really been strong this season, but they'll be looking to change that with this from Albrighton.
Albrighton sends it in low, and it's headed away powerfully at the front post. Not the best ball in by Albrighton, really. Didn't beat the front man, and, well, we've got a head injury. Looks like a nasty one for Telles. Yeah, who, again, a player who brought in to, he was brought in almost, I think most Man United fans thought he was going to come in and take the left-back spot, but instead he's just inspired Luke Shaw to his best season in a Man United shirt.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, obviously, Telles arrived with quite a big reputation, a £15 million recruit. A lot of people were saying that's, quite a steal to get him in from Porto, of course. He's got a career in which he's played in Italy with Inter Milan and obviously played with Porto, Galatasaray, and, was somebody that Roberto Mancini brought to Italy. And obviously, he came to United, quite, as I said, quite a big reputation. And, it has just inspired Luke Shaw to almost great lengths, isn't it? So that competition has pretty much worked in Luke Shaw's favour, so much so that it's made him a real stalwart in this United team this season and it's got him back in the England fold.
Well, it looks like Telles is going to be okay to continue. I have to say, I can't imagine that he'd be too keen to come off after 7 minutes of only his 8th league appearance of the season. So I'm not too surprised to see that he wants to continue. And, well, as long as he's got the okay from the doctors, then it looks like Telesh is, and he's going to be coming back on any minute.
Well, of course, they'll be monitoring this, Jack, very, very closely. Head injuries is something that has been real debatable, isn't it, over the last few years in terms of, whether a player's actually concussed or not. There is that option if United feel the need to make a concussion sub, which has only just recently come in. So he'll be closely monitored for a few minutes, I would have thought, Alex Telles.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a hard one, really, because the player is always going to say that he's fine, even though he's not. Sometimes has to be taken out of the player's hands, in my opinion. This is Sion Chu finds Iles Perez, who's dropped into the left wing-back role for a minute just to get hold of the ball. He's seen very little of the ball. Has the Spaniard, who's been given a chance in place of James Maddison, who had a pretty poor game against Newcastle. Fofana trying to switch the ball over towards Albrighton, but it's intercepted well by Telesh. Telesh finds Elanga, but Elanga can't link up, and indeed he sweeps up. And here come Leicester now. It's Albrighton looking to send the early cross in. It's deflected. It reaches Vardy, who goes for the clever back heel. And in the end, it deflects off of a Manchester United defender, and David De Gea sweeps up. But that was a pretty quick counter-attack by Leicester. Indeed, he starting the move.
Yeah, it was. Then it went out toward Mark Albrighton on that right-hand side. He gets the cross in. It takes a nick, I think, off Twanzebe, and then it's just sort of really
Indeed,
caught out
he finds Vardy
defense.
here. It's Iheanacho. Oh, I thought it was going to something come on that there.
Yeah, it just sort of caught the United defence out. It hit Twanzebe, and then Bai just sort of had to really scramble across and, sort of just get in front of the shot potentially of Vardy, which luckily he just didn't get enough contact from. But yeah, as you said, Leicester with a quick counter-attack there, and they'll be hoping that they can, try and catch United cold and for the part of this game.
Brandon Williams with a long throw into Juan Mata, and that front three, that three in behind Greenwood have not really seen any of the ball there. It's a foul on Luke Thomas. And Leicester are starting to take control of this game. If they do win this, it is pretty much Champions League done and dusted for them. They'll move 8 points clear of West Ham with 9 to play for. So it's Fofana, finds Castagna into Albrighton again. Albrighton down the line, inviting Iheanacho forward, and Bai comes across. But already, that's 2 or 3 times Albrighton's looked up and played the early ball forward, and Vardy or Iheanacho have been close on some occasions. So they've obviously identified a weak point there. This is Sion Chu in the centre circle, driving forward with the ball. Finds Luke Thomas, who's forced back by Diallo. And it's going to go all the way back to Schmeichel. But Fox is starting to take control of this game.
Yeah, they've come out as a better side, haven't they, in the opening 9.5 minutes? They look the more settled, don't they? United do look a little bit disjointed. You can tell that it is a lack of minutes and a lack of game time amongst this squad and this 11, really, isn't it? It's pretty telling early on.
Ball in behind for Tielemans. Tielemans is going to get there ahead of Bai. Tielemans over towards the back post. It reaches Luke Thomas, who hammers it into the top corner for his first goal of the season. What an absolutely brilliant volley that is by Luke Thomas. And it is Manchester United 0, Leicester 1, and the Foxes continue their march to the Champions League.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant play. It's down that right-hand side again. That's been a real problem for United in the opening 10 minutes. It's a really well stood up cross toward Jamie Vardy. He lets it go. He obviously gets the shout from Luke Thomas, and he's still got to put the ball away, but he opens up superbly on that left foot, and the moment it leaves his foot, it's destined to go into the back of the net, but nobody picked up Youri Tielemans. There was a big gaping hole down that right. Twanzebe was drawn out of position as he went to go and attack the ball, and then it just meant that Williams had to come in. It meant Bai was out of position, and that is a superb counter-attack by Leicester. They just swept aside United there, but what a finish by Luke Thomas to stay calm under pressure. And that young man has shown his class there to put that into the back of the net. And Leicester rightly in front with 11 minutes played.
Yeah, it's a totally well-deserved goal for Leicester. They've been the better side. It was a beautifully constructed move as well. Tielemans with the off-the-ball running. Here come Leicester again. It's Iheanacho trying to find Vardy. They want this over and done with, this Champions League race. Iles Perez finds Ndidi, trying to totally forget about that disastrous collapse last season. And, well, a win at Old Trafford would certainly do that. This is Iheanacho again. Albrighton back into Castagna. This is Ndidi once more. Ndidi across to Sionchu, but he's left Sionchu a bit short. And can Manchester United break through Elanga? This is where United are dangerous. To Elanga, he's got the ball a bit stuck in his feet. And then in the end, he's give it away. Maybe showing some inexperience there. And here comes Ndidi into Perez in the centre circle. Perez swarmed upon by Donny van der Beek, who I've not mentioned at all yet this game. And he comes in with a late challenge on Jamie Vardy, Van der Beek. And this could be, well, the referee's going to give something. And the heavens have opened as well at Old Trafford.
Yeah, the rain is falling down, isn't it? Pretty much in line with the opening sort of 12 minutes of this game for Manchester United. But it was a pretty hefty challenge by Donny van der Beek on Jamie Vardy. So much so that the referee, Craig Pawson, decided to not give a free kick, which I was quite surprised about, to be fair.
It's very, very strange. And Sionchu there, totally just lackadaisical, kind of like what I did on Friday when I tried that weird back heel and it just allowed Joe Willock in. And then from then, the momentum was all against Leicester. But in this game, the momentum is certainly with the Foxes. Johnny Evans looking on, obviously, against his old team. Made 198 appearances for Manchester United before they let him go to West Bromwich Albion. This is back with David De Gea. And De Gea clips one forward in the direction of Greenwood, but he's never going to win that. Perez wins his flick on and then is clattered. And it's going to be a free kick. And Perez in the wars there.
Yeah, Brandon Williams and himself were both climbing to try and win that knock forward. You can just see there, he just gets there first, just catch him there. Williams is in his right to challenge for it. He can't really do anything apart from obviously hit the back of the head of Perez with his head as well. So obviously Craig Pawson has to give a free kick there in that situation.
You can't see it on the wide shots, but it's absolutely hammering down it, isn't it? The conditions have significantly worsened. And this is Perez now picking up the ball, and he's maybe left Sionchu short, but Sionchu takes no chances there and just puts his foot through the ball and clears. And
yeah, I think that was an element of the conditions maybe playing a part there, Jack. I think obviously they'll know that with the rain, clambering down on Old Trafford and in Manchester, and obviously on this pitch, it's going to get more wet and it's going to get a little bit more sort of stood on the ball, isn't it? You've got to really put your foot through it.
In actual work in the space onto his right foot. In the end, he just holds it back to Tielemans, but Perez did well to nick in, and Leicester continue their high press. Back with Castagna. Castagna just gets there ahead of Mata. Greenwood interested. Sionchu now under pressure by Diallo. But they've, in the end, done really well, Leicester, because there was some intense pressing there from Manchester United.
There was a few players' hearts skipping a few beats, wasn't there? I mean, there was that ball from Castagna to Fofana, and then he had to really stretch to just knock it to Soyuncu, and then Soyuncu did the same. But, of course, it went well beyond Luke Thomas, but luckily it went out for a throw. But, you just saw there the example of United going after Leicester. It's the first time we've seen that in this game.
Diallo picks up the ball, slips it into Greenwood. Mason Greenwood skips by one, hits it, and Greenwood equalises. And it's his 6th goal in 6 games. This man cannot stop scoring. And he's hit Leicester with a sucker punch. And it is Manchester United 1, Leicester 1.
Well, when you're against the run of play and you've got someone like Greenwood on the pitch, you want him to come up with a bit of quality and a bit of magic. And he does exactly that. They profit really from, I think, probably quite poor defensive play from Leicester. Luke Thomas there just gets out muscled. Ahmad does really, really well. He just gives it to Greenwood, the easiest ball. He's just on the edge of the box and he goes on his right foot and he just is able to just get it away from Kasper Schmeichel, who just tried to stretch to save it with his right leg. But it's really good feet by Greenwood. It's on his weaker right foot and he doesn't quite get the cleanest of connections. But what he makes sure he does, he just gets it well away from Schmeichel. And he does exactly that. United haven't been great in the first quarter of an hour, but they don't care. They're level, and they reply within 5 minutes after going behind.
That is their first chance of the game, Manchester United, and they've hit Leicester on the counter-attack, and it's a massive sucker punch. It really is. But when you've got a player like Mason Greenwood, you're always a threat. I mean, right foot, left foot, he can do it all. That's his 29th goal now in 102 appearances for the Red Devils. He's still only a teenager. There's some exciting potential about that lad. You do really wonder how many goals he's actually going to score in his career, because most players have a favoured foot, but I generally couldn't tell you what his favourite foot is. I've seen him score goals right foot, left foot.
Yeah,
You can
the
go
only
either
thing he
way.
hasn't scored is with his head, isn't it? I mean, it's
Yeah, pretty
absolutely
much, yeah.
astonishing. Yeah, it's a very good point that you actually make. I mean, he goes on his right foot there, and you think Leicester have actually done really well to get on there, but then he's able to get around the first man and then open up and just put it in that postage stamp right in that right corner beyond Kasper Schmeichel, and it just goes to show that you could be that good on both feet. That's something in this day and age is very unheard of, isn't it?
Williams finds Elanga, who seems to have switched onto this right wing, and in the end, Leicester regather the ball through Wesley Fofana, who lays it across to Timothy Castagna. He's invited forward. He's just over the halfway line. Finds Albrighton just inside Manchester United's half, but that's a poor giveaway by Mark Albrighton. And now Van de Beek has the ball. And straight away, when you can see the Man United midfielders get the ball, the two wingers instantly get on the bike and make a run over the top. And when they've got that pace, always going to be a problem. This is Juan Mata into Diallo. Greenwood through to Diallo again. So he's got an assist on his Premier League debut. Now, what else can he do? Diallo finds Greenwood into Van de Beek. Van de Beek, you could see what Van de Beek was trying. He saw the run of Mata and he just tried to slip him through, but it was good defending in the end. But that's what Van de Beek gives you. He's got that intelligence and that vision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with Ajax 2 years ago, and they're so close to getting to the Champions League final. He was one of their stars in their team. They obviously had Ziyech. Tadic had a fantastic season. Frankie de Jong, but he was the unsung hero for me, Van de Beek. All good sides seem to have one, don't they? His vision, his intelligence. He just plays the game so easily at times. Haven't quite seen it, United, whether he's not had the minutes he deserves. But, you can see that there is a good player there if you have sort of seen him play. He just needs that run in the team, doesn't he? And I think his career at United will really kickstart.
Luke Thomas trying to get there ahead of Brandon Williams. And, well, after Thomas's absolutely dream first 10 minutes with that first Premier League goal, absolutely delicious finish as well. Got to say, he was at fault for the equaliser, really. Should have dealt with the ball forward to Diallo a lot better. This is Williams.
Yeah, I mean, just at a point there, Jack, whether or not he didn't actually get a call or anything from any defender or anything like that, it's very interesting to see because Diallo chased him all the way and really caused Thomas a few problems there, didn't he? It really caused a lot of uncertainty.
Only 18 is Diallo, already got a cup for Ivory Coast, and he did score against AC Milan in only his third Manchester United appearance. And again, well, got to say, early days in his career, but already looks like he's certainly got something about him. This is now Fofana, just allowed to carry the ball forward. Mata, no interest in closing him down. Finds Tielemans, who's dropped deep. Finds Castagna. Castagna into Iheanacho. Back to Yuri Tielemans. Tielemans, nice ball into Iheanacho, and Iheanacho's trying to find Vardy, I think, but in the end, Leicester regather the ball through Kaglar in the left centre-back role. He finds Luke Thomas, who gets his head up and plays an interesting ball down the line, but Williams reads it well and gets there ahead of Vardy. Perez closing down Bailly, but it goes across to Tuanzebe now. And this is Telles. Telles, ball forward, intercepted. Picked up by Castagna. Castagna, good ball into Tielemans. Tielemans got time and space. He's tried to slip it through to Castagna, but it's good defending in the end. That's a lovely back heel by Greenwood. And free kick is going to go against the Foxes. Mata caught late there. Wilfred Ndidi not happy.
I don't really know what he's unhappy about there, Ndidi, because his foot was really high there as he just sort of brushed the thigh of Juan Mata in the middle of the pitch there. And pretty easy decision for the referee.
Yeah, definitely. And this is Matic into Mata, back to Telles. Into Bailly. Man United just trying to take a bit of the sting out of the game, perhaps. Telles finds... This is Mata now. Into Telles. Greenwood. And that's a foul by Wesley Fofana on Greenwood. Getting way too tight on him. And a cheap free kick, really, because he wasn't going anywhere.
No, it wasn't. And it was in quite an area of no real danger, was it? But I think he would have been given the orders before the game, and even more so now tonight, given the quality Greenwood showed with that individual piece of skill to equalise for United. Fofana would have probably been told, look, get tight to him. Don't let him turn, because if he turns you and he's in that sort of position, he can pick a pass out and he can, create the attacks or even score the attacks, can Mason Greenwood. Just goes to show the talent that he has got in his locker.
Mata trying to find Matic. Mata approaching 10 years in the Premier League. In July 2011, that was when he joined Chelsea. He's been a stalwart for Manchester United and Chelsea. Won titles, won the Champions League. That's a lovely flick by Teles. Now we can drive. Now we can find Greenwood. Greenwood just about links up with Teles, who squeezes it out. Mata finds Van de Beek. Van de Beek. Oh, he's trying to drill it through to Elanga, but blocked again. But already, you just like what Van de Beek does. He's always looking for something different. Ball played over the top towards Vardy. Vardy taken on by Vardy in behind. Vardy plays it across to Iheanacho, but Twanzebe is there. Good defending by Axel Twanzebe.
Yeah, it was really good defending by Twanzebe, but really poor from Eric Bailly. Vardy just gets past him as if he's not even there, and he just allows him so much room on the inside to put that ball in. Luckily, obviously, he's not able to pick at Iheanacho, but Eric Bailly, for me, has got to do so much better. He's got to be tighter and not allow Vardy to just goes past him like that.
Yeah, I think that's a Man United throw in. Diallo coming in and Perez leaving Luke Thomas a bit short there, really. But we're 22 minutes in. It's Manchester United 1, Leicester 1. And after quite a quiet start, it's been really livened up the game, and it's been an enjoyable one so far. Brandon, and you're listening on Football Commentary Live with me, Jack Cunningham, and my co-coms, Matt Iles. And we'll be bringing you plenty more games as the season ticks towards its conclusion. Into Greenwood. Greenwood drop deep and drives easily past Albrighton over the halfway line now. He's got Teles on the overlap with him. He tries to slip it into Mata, but Teles looked the better option there.
It almost feels like tonight in particular for United that they're relying on Greenwood just to create the magic, be the spark, aren't they?
Mike clips it over to Diallo, who brings it down well in the box. Perez on him, but Diallo gets it back to Brandon Williams. This is Mata. Man United certainly starting to take a bit more control of the game now as well. Matic. Always got that cultured style about him, hasn't he? Man United, that gorgeous left foot. Again, another Premier League stalwart. He's been around for a long time. Into Twanzebe. Into Matic. Interesting to see that Matic filling in that left-back role, isn't it? Allowing Teles to get further forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously you can talk about it. He just slots into that back three, doesn't he? We know Matic won't run for days. That's not what he's been about. And it hasn't been, in the games that you see him in. He's just a midfielder who just sort of just sits there, doesn't he? He's just that glue to the defence, isn't he? And, him dropping in there, as you said, just allows Teles to just go forward and obviously, just get inside the opposition half. But he just slots in there really well, doesn't he? Just adds so much calmness, and he's not afraid to get the ball down and knock it about, is he?
No, not at all. Brandon Williams, nice turn there. Finds Mata. Clips it inside to Van de Beek. Van de Beek now plays it down the line to Elanga, but Fofana just deals with him easily and then draws in the young Man United man on his debut. Not really been able to get on the ball too much, Elanga, but he seems to he's certainly got something about him. Bit of pace as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of big things said about him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was waxing lyrical about him, wasn't he? I think because obviously he's been included in their Europa League squad, of course, since February when their first game was against Real Sociedad. So he's obviously someone that has got a big future at United, and he's just one of those you don't want to just put a lot of pressure on him. Just let him enjoy this occasion tonight, and just hopefully he can show those United fans at home what he's made of for maybe seasons to come.
Van de Beek finds Matic carrying the ball forward. Tielemans goes to close him down, but in the end, it's going to be all the way back with David De Gea. It's his first league game in the last, he hasn't played the last 8 league games. Dean Henderson starting to become Manchester United's number one. And amazingly, De Gea is still only 30, but he really has been around forever. This is Eric Bailly into Brandon Williams. Williams comes across the pitch. Game having a bit of a lull at the moment. Matic finds Williams again. Yeah, interesting to see that Leicester aren't really... maybe their pressing game's dropped off a bit, hasn't it? Just for this moment in time.
Yeah, I was noticing that actually, Jack. They're very conservative, aren't they? I mean, we obviously covered the Leicester-Manchester City game sort of back in early April, and there were times when they were going after Manchester City very early on, and then it's just sort of fizzled out, hasn't it? They do try and just sort of preserve their energy, and as I said, stay conservative and only really do it when they feel it's right to, and it's pretty much a similar pattern to playing United tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and also, I mean, you have to say, though, for either of these teams, a draw doesn't really do anything. This is Castagna in behind, finds Tielemans. Tielemans gets his head up, clips it into the back post. Oh, it's tipped over the bar by De Gea. In the end, the cross turned into a cross-come shot, and De Gea had to be alert and palmed it over the bar, and it's a corner to the Foxes. But Tielemans was certainly not going for goal there, but De Gea was alert to it and diverted the danger.
Yeah, he just has to tip it over, doesn't he? He's just got to be sure it's not, you're insecure as a goalkeeper thinking you're going to catch that, given that, of course, if you do, you might just maybe, lose your balance and just sort of divert it over the line. But obviously, he's just got to be sure and tipping it over, I think, was the right thing to do.
This is Albrighton. It's going to be an in-swinger instead. Craig Pawson having a word with someone, but corner take, and now headed away at the front post again. That's 2 corners now from Albrighton. They haven't beat the first man. Not good enough, especially for a man who's famed for his delivery. Albrighton loses it now. It's Diallo. That's a good tackle by Albrighton, but Diallo gets it back. And in the end, Leicester deal with it. But for a moment, it looked like the young Ivory Coast winger was away.
Yeah, it certainly did, didn't it? And I mean, he's looked quite sharp tonight, I think, Amad Diallo, the Ivorian. He's playing quite high. He is someone who wants to be direct, bring the ball forward, really drive with it. And I think, if there were fans inside in this stadium tonight, they'd like what they see in the opening sort of 28 minutes. It's real promising signs for the man who was signed from Atalanta in January.
Telesh into Mata into Elanga with nearly a brilliant ball through to Mata, but Fofana read it well and away come Leicester. Albrighton just shoves off Elanga, plays it into Iheanacho. Iheanacho now clips it in the direction of Vardy, but just too much on it. If the ball was right, Vardy was in.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, 100%. It looked like, to me, when obviously the camera just sort of went toward Vardy, that he might have just been maybe a yard or two offside. But obviously, had he got that ball, the flag would have probably stayed down, given the attack would have still been alive. But yeah, you can't give Iheanacho the space or somebody on the Leicester attacking point of view, because they will try and pick Vardy out. And as we know, he will make most balls that are played over the top toward him.
De Gea clips it to Brandon Williams, who is fouled by Ozzy Perez. Pretty silly foul from the Spaniard. Just relieves all the pressure that Leicester were starting to build up there. 29 minutes in here, it's Manchester United 1, Leicester 1. Luke Thomas gave the Foxes the lead, but Mason Greenwood, with Manchester United's first attack, pulled them back, and it's been level ever since. This is now Telesh into De Gea. De Gea into Bailly, who, I mean, let's be fair, he's had an absolutely horrendous time with injuries, Eric Bailly, as he just passes the ball straight out of play there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Bailly, he is somebody who does actually cause a divide amongst the United fans, doesn't he? I personally rate Bailly. I think he's a good defender. I think his positional sense is what does make him stand out at times. He can be a little bit erratic. He can probably do things a little bit at times, a rush of blood to the head. But, he is someone who goes and attacks the ball and, isn't afraid to put himself in the line of fire and get injured for the good of his team.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's weird to think he was signed in 2016 and he's only just made 100 appearances for Manchester United just because of the amount of injuries he's had. And now Victor Lindelof is very, very much first choice alongside Harry Maguire. So this is a big game for him. That's a lovely goal by Mason Greenwood. The first touch is delightful, just knocks it past his man. And then, as I was saying, he's just so good on either foot that it doesn't really matter. And here he comes again, Mason Greenwood now, and he can also travel with the ball, as he showed 1 or 2 times today. Finds Mata into Brandon Williams, back to Van de Beek, into Matic, Greenwood, Matic, Van de Beek again. Nice little triangle. Williams, Mata, and attack sort of fizzled out. But United still have the ball. Elanga comes out and drills it out to this far side to Telesh. into Greenwood, he's everywhere. He's coming deep on the left, on the right. This is Mata now. Just manages to squeeze it out to Bay into Brandon Williams, who tries to get it round the corner. But Man United have a back again through Van der Beek into Twanzebe, who's in the centre circle, but drills it off Albrighton. It's quite lucky that it didn't go to a blue shirt there because it was a poor pass.
Yeah, you know exactly what he was trying to look for. He was trying to look for Anthony Elanga, wasn't he? And, that's something that I think United haven't really done enough so far in the opening 32 minutes is, try and get the ball into the feet of Ahmad and Elanga, because you want to see them have a run at the Leicester defence, try and hurt this back three, which haven't been hurt enough. Greenwood showed that moment of quality, which, of course, we were just speaking so highly about, and we couldn't not speak about, given it was that good from him. But, Castagna, Fofana and Soyuncu, for me, have had it pretty comfortable so far.
Yeah, they have. They've had very little to do, really. As I said, I mean, Leicester are probably absolutely gutted, to be honest, that they've conceded a goal because they've had most of the game. Haven't tested De Gea probably enough as maybe they would like, but they've certainly had the better of the game. This is Albrighton into... Sorry, that was Albrighton. It was Castagna. This is Tielemans. Finds Soyuncu. Soyuncu looking to carry the ball over the halfway line and then just drills it over towards Vardy, who's switched sides, but that's too long for Jamie Vardy. Can't really do anything with a ball like that, really. And that is a cheap foul by Castagna on Elanga.
Yeah, pretty cheap from Castagna there. Just a little arm in the back, isn't it? And of course, any sort of slight contact, your man's always going to go down, isn't it? Pretty easy spot for the referee, Craig Pawson.
Yeah, there's just no need for it, is there, really? Like,
nah, not in the position that
the
he's in on the attacking point of view. Anyway, I think obviously if he just sort of stood there, kept tight to him, but kept his hands down, he's got to know in his head, Castagna, that the Swede Elanga's going to go down.
Oh, it's a ball back by Williams, and Vardy was interested, but De Gea swept up, and I thought Tielemans out when he brought it down. I thought he was going to go for goal, but in the end he played it back to Soyuncu, and it's all the way back with Kasper Schmeichel. That would have been a pretty audacious effort from Yuri Tielemans there. Schmeichel trying to find Ian Atchell, but goes all the way out to play. The game sort of made a really good start to the game, but died down in the last 10 minutes or so. Maybe the weather affected them or just took it out the players slightly, although maybe just conserving their energy a bit because it has quietened down this one. Nice feat by Nemanja Matic to just glide away from his man and then finds Telles. Telles looks up. I thought he was going to play it in behind, but thinks better of it. Into Matic, 3-time Premier League winner, Nemanja Matic, all with Chelsea. This is by, once again, to Matic. Bit of a bit part player, though, now. These days, 17 league appearances before this, sort of in and out of the side. Very much the first choices, Fred and McTominay in that centre of the park for Manchester United.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously McTominay in particular, his numbers really show what a good season he's had. Fred does obviously cause a lot of a divide, but obviously I think, given the amount of games he's played and he's been entrusted a lot of the time with these big games alongside McTominay, that, Solskjaer really does trust him and does back him to do a job. And obviously, we spoke about how Van der Beek's had hard minutes and has found it hard to come by. Has been the same for the Nemanja Matic, but I think also maybe age might just play a part as well. It's very similar sort of to Juan Mata, isn't it? He's found minutes hard to come by. Maybe that might be down to his age. Solskjaer is, bedded in the youngsters, maybe more so than some others in some cases. But, I think maybe age might just be burdening Nemanja Matic slightly on this occasion for me, Jack.
Yeah, I can totally see your point there. This is Perez again coming at this left wing back role just to get the ball. Yeah, you mentioned Mata. I mean, 34 now, Mata. This is only his 8th league appearance of the season. So, I think he's certainly on the wind down in his career, isn't he? But what a career he's had. This is Ndidi. He finds Tielemans. But fired in by Ndidi there. And Tielemans couldn't really bring the ball under control. And away comes Matic. Well, that's an absolutely brilliant ball towards Mason Greenwood. But Soyuncu gets there and stops Mason Greenwood. Otherwise, there was danger for Leicester, but that's good covering by the Turkish international. What absolutely brilliant pick out by Nemanja Matic, though.
Yeah, it was. He's got to be so careful there, Soyuncu, isn't he? He's just got to make sure he doesn't rush. He just steadies himself and just calms down, and he just did everything right. Just waited and waited for the right time to slide in, and it was a really well-timed challenge by Carlos Soyuncu.
Ball flung over in the direction of Telesh, who just about keeps it in under pressure from Mark Albright, and it's back with De Gea. De Gea clips one into Mata, who takes a pretty uncharacteristic bad touch there from one Mata. This is Albrighton. Drills it into Luke Thomas. Good ball. Thomas keeps the ball and slips it into Ndidi. And Ndidi across to Castagna now. Leicester looking to work space for a cross, perhaps. Albrighton into Castagna again. Castagna trying to find Iheanacho, but it might reach Tielemans in the end. It does. Ndidi back to Soyuncu. Ndidi obviously linked with Manchester United and even said he was flattered by the interest from the Red Devils. So, you know, he's clearly a fan of the Old Trafford-based club. This is Matic gliding past his man. Finds Greenwood into Mata. Mata trying to slip it into Diallo, but Fofana there once again reads the game well and covers. And that's what Wesley Fofana does. Sweeps up at that. Sweeps up everything at the back easily. This is Alanga. Looking at, well, he's tied Castagna in knots, but Albrighton has covered him well.
I think there's a little bit of nerves from Ilanga there, but that might just give him a little bit of encouragement. You know, he did well to just get on that touchline, just wait for the challenge to come in. And, you know, Castagna was certainly in a bit of a headspin with that, but yeah, he just sort of slowed down there, didn't he, the Swede, as he tried to just gather a few more yards.
Yeah, Tielemans taken out by Matic, but yeah, I mean, that was great skill by Ilanga. I mean, as I said, he made Castagna fall over. So, bit of an embarrassment for the Belgian national there. This is Soyuncu. Game's definitely lost a lot of its tempo that it had at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what it just feels like, doesn't it? I mean, it kind of feels like both sides are quite happy to just settle in this territory. And when that sort of happens, you don't really feel like it could be a good game.
Iheanacho got the overlapping run of Mark Albrighton. Albrighton drills it in and Van der Beek covers. Wasn't the best cross, really. And this is now Matic again. Finds back to Matic. Matic starting to see a lot more of the ball, though, and showing his passing range. That's a great switch out to Brandon Williams, who should have linked up with Mata there, but he can only find Ayoze Perez. Nips in and fouls Vardy. I thought he won the ball, but Vardy got there ahead of him.
Yeah, he is always going to do that, Eric Bailly. He will always go and attack the man and try and win the ball. He does get a touch to it, but he certainly does get the foot of Jamie Vardy. But, of course, if you make any sort of slight contact with the man as well as getting the ball, you're always going to concede a free kick.
Yeah, we're just about 5 minutes or so to go till half time. Poor giveaway there in the midfield. And indeed, he has been forced to foul his man. That was a bit of a nasty one on the back of Greenwood's ankle there. And indeed, he's made two fouls now. I'll be interested to see what Craig Pawson does about this one.
But it doesn't really help that it was quite a lazy pass from Castagna, wasn't it? You know what Ndidi's trying to do? He's just trying to shrug off Greenwood and just make sure that the ball goes beyond him and Greenwood. But of course, it was such a short pass from Castagna that Ndidi stepped across and, fouled Mason Greenwood, right in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, and this is Telesh to Diallo, it's Alanga. Tielemans. Poor giveaway. Van der Beek into Alanga again. And Alanga can't force the pass back. And in the end, it's going to be a throw in. Albrighton falling under the pressure of Alanga. Iheanacho just having a word with Craig Pawson there. Iheanacho certainly not been able to get too much of the ball so far. Not been able to continue that. Certainly not had a chance to continue that brilliant goal scoring run he's on. It's 10 goals in his last 9 league games. Good tackle. And here is Iheanacho now. Just as I mentioned that, he's got Vardy with him onto his left foot. Tries to slip it through to Vardy. Comes out. It's going to reach Mark Albrighton. It's going to be a free kick given against Manchester United, but Leicester suddenly came alive there. But Vardy was actually outpaced.
Yeah, it was. It was really good cover and defended by Twanzebe, actually. As he just sort of tried to let De Gea come out, I think Vardy with the follow-through might have just stepped on his foot there, and that was the decision for the free kick to be given. But if Iheanacho just took a little bit of weight off that pass, Vardy's probably got a toe to it, but better from Leicester. A little bit more creative and a little bit more forward-thinking. And, that's probably what's been missing from them since the opening sort of 10 minutes from that Luke Thomas goal.
Yeah, I mean, a draw doesn't do anything for either team, really. I know Leicester have got the FA Cup final, coming up. So obviously that's a huge one, but they need to get the top four. So they've been in the top four for pretty much the whole season. So it would be after travesty if they did miss out. And you'd expect them to be a bit more lively. This is better from them. Here's Tielemans now. Tielemans looking to shoot. It's blocked. It might reach Perez. It's hammered away by Diallo. Headed back in by Castagna. Van de Beek gives it away. Picked up by Castagna once more. Sionchu over the halfway line, driving forward. He's got Luke Thomas out on this near-hand side with him, and he tries to play it inside, but it was so telegraphed. But he's won the ball well here, and he finds Iosi Perez, and Perez looking to shoot. Instead tries to flick it through to Vardy, but not quite enough on it, and away come Manchester United, but they lose it once more. Perez again, Leicester keeping the pressure on. Tielemans, back to Perez. And now this is back with Sionchu into Fofana, but noticeably higher pressing and noticeably higher at the pitch here, Leicester. Tielemans trying to get Thomas forward, but Williams is just going to see that off. Good defending by the young Manchester United right back there. Although Matic is under pressure here, and Bailly thumps it away. Headed back by Fofana to Sionchu, and that's all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel. 2 minutes or so to go at half-time, plus added time. Sionchu finds Luke Thomas. Thomas trying to find Vardy. Intercepted by Bailly. Picked up by Brandon Williams. And he plays it back to De Gea, who drives it forward. Comes into Ndidi now. Tielemans just lifts one in the direction of Iheanacho. Going to be picked up by Ndidi again. Ndidi still going. Ndidi trying to work his way, bundle his way through, but in the end he fouls Twanzebe, and it's a free kick to the Red Devils. But I thought Ndidi was just going to unorthodoxly burst his way through there.
Yeah, so did I. I thought he was just going to really break through there, but Twanzebe just about did enough, didn't he? Just got to the side of him, and then obviously as he just gets in front, Ndidi just gives him a little nudge in the back, and that's the free kick given. But just in the last few minutes or so, it's just, Leicester just trying to get on the ball a little bit more, trying to play it through to Iheanacho, trying to play it through to Vardy. Yes, it's been unsuccessful. It's a little bit better from them that was probably missing since the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, as I sort of alluded to a few minutes ago when Luke Thomas scored. So there is slight encouragement as the half is coming to a close.
Yeah, and of course, that we've just seen James Maddison there. He's on the bench. 8 goals, 7 assists in the league this season. So, he's had a strong season. Hasn't scored since February, but he has been injured, obviously, for a lot of time. But, he hasn't scored since return from injury. So, there's Maddison to come on. But Manchester United also have, Bruno Fernandes, Edinson Cavani, Marcus Rashford. They have a strong bench as well. So I expect the subs benches to play a part in the second half. I'm going to have 1 minute at a time here.
Yeah, I think almost you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he'd almost be quite reluctant to bring those big hitters on. I mean, obviously, yes, Leicester are not a side 4th bottom in the league. They are 4th in the Premier League, but he'll want to save those players for that game on Thursday. Liverpool United's a massive game compared to Leicester versus Man United, as everybody knows.
Tielemans finds Iheanacho. Can Leicester work one more opportunity before half-time? Ndidi skips by Iheanacho. Iheanacho takes the shot on, and it goes wide, and it looks like it's going to be...
Yeah, it's a free kick.
Free kick. Advantage was pulled back. Ndidi fouled there by Diallo. It's a pretty blatant free kick, really.
Yeah, he actually gets away with it, doesn't he, Ndidi? It's a pretty heavy touch sort of on the edge. He must have been about 20 yards out. You know what he's trying to do? He's just trying to go on the outside, get on his right foot. Diallo followed him all the way. It was a clear free kick, but that first touch did let him down. If he got it under control a little bit more, I think he was obviously looking to shoot and try and test David De Gea, but he's got a free kick for it here, and this could maybe work the Spanish goalkeeper. Who knows? With what will probably be the last kick of the first half.
Yeah, this will be the last kick of the first half. Is it going to be the left foot of Iheanacho, or is it going to be the right foot of Yuri Tielemans? Have to say it's more. Say it favours the left footer, and in the form Iheanacho's in, he's going to have that confidence to want to take on a strike. It is Tielemans into the wall, comes out to Iheanacho, and there goes the halftime whistle. And it is Manchester United 1, Leicester City 1. Luke Thomas gave the Foxes the lead with an absolutely delightful volley into the top corner. His first Premier League goal, only for then Mason Greenwood to continue his red-hot goal-scoring streak and score with the Red Devils' first attack. Since then, it's been a bit of, game's gone a bit itty-bitty, I suppose. But I'd say Manchester United will be the happier of the two at half-time. So, half-time score here at Old Trafford is Manchester United 1, Leicester City 1.
Thank you very much, Jack. And Matt will be back with both of those very, very soon for the second half as we look to see if Leicester can win tonight. Because if Leicester do win, Manchester United will gift Manchester City the Premier League title, and Manchester City will be Premier League champions if Manchester United lose this evening against Leicester City. In the Premier League tonight, we have got another game later on, which we will not be bringing you here on Football Commentary Live, and that is Southampton against Crystal Palace. We have a few National League games which kick off at 7 o'clock, 3 in total. Aldershot v Yeovil, Solihull Moors, Weymouth and Stockport, Dagenham and Redbridge, Chesterfield v Kings Lynn, Maidenhead United against Notts County, and Willstone v Bromley are 7:45 kick-offs. At 8 o'clock is Sutton United against Woking, and be interesting to see how those games get on. We've got the Scottish, but we'll not be bringing any of those updates from those matches. In the Scottish Championship, Elgonians take on Cove Rangers in their playoff semi-final, and on the other semi-final, Greenock Morton take on Montrose. In Scottish League 1 playoff final, Dumbarton take on Stranraer, and Edinburgh City versus Elgin City is the other game. Coming up towards the end of the first half in La Liga, sees Osasuna leading Cadiz by a goal to nil. Elche take on Alaves at 7 o'clock, while Levante take on Barcelona at 9 p.m. In Italian Serie A, Napoli take on Udinese at 7:45. And in the Portuguese Premier League, there's Benfica currently losing to CD Nacional 1-0 at the break. Santa Clara beat Real Ave by a goal to nil. And Tondela lost 3-1 to Belenenses in that game earlier on. Today there's a few matches going off in the Turkish Super League, and we'll bring you some of those results a little bit later. One result's already in, and that's Konyaspor 1, Trabzonspor 1 in the Turkish Super League. Fenerbahce take on Sivasspor, Galatasaray taking on Denizlispor, Besiktas against Faith Kamaruk as well. So I'll bring you how those get on a little bit later on in the programme. In the world of football today, and some news as well, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did confirm before the game that Harry Maguire has suffered ankle ligament damage as he went into the stands this evening at Old Trafford. You saw him with some crutches by his side, helping him walk along. It looks like as though he's got a boot on that. He suffered the injury in the win over Aston Villa on Sunday, and he will now be able to be fit for Villarreal in the Europa League on the 26th of May, which you can hear on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. And also a bit of news as well. Sheffield United, it appears Sheffield United striker Ollie McBurney has been arrested. The North Yorkshire Police has confirmed that a 24-year-old man, which is the same age as Ollie McBurney, which in other local media outlets to where I'm from, have now said it looks like it is Ollie McBurney, has been arrested after a video emerged on social media appearing to show McBurney in altercation with some young men. In the video, a man is seen to be stamping on the phone he's being filmed on, which, and in the footage from where I've seen it appears to look like it's Ollie McBurney, before fighting with another man. North Yorkshire Police, who have arrested the suspect, has said that a 24-year-old man has been arrested in connection with an incident which involved another man being assaulted. He remains in custody. The police statement adds the 21-year-old victim sustained facial injuries during the incident, which happened shortly before 8:30 p.m. on Saturday, May the 8th, on Iles Street in Knaresborough. Sheffield United say they are aware of that police are involved following an emergence video circling social media over the weekend. The club statement added from the Blades, as a club we will do all we can to assist inquiries as well as continue our own investigation. He is a Scotland international and is part of the Blades squad whose relegation from the Premier League was confirmed a few weeks ago, 17th of April to be precise. He was ruled out of the fuller campaign and the Euros after fracturing his foot on the 11th of April when Sheffield United lost 3-0 to Arsenal. And Matt, with you now back with us, Martin. What do you make to that story there regarding Ollie McBurney? If it appears that he's the one who's been arrested after seeing video footage, it looked as though that he was the one stamping on the phone he was filmed on before fighting with the other men, another man who was there at the time. Would you make to that if it comes out that it is Ollie McBurney? Do you feel his footballing career will be over? We can now seem to hear Matt at the moment, so we'll try and fetch Matt back in as soon as.
Sorry, Russ. I was just about to say, yeah. I mean, obviously, we've not seen. This isn't the first incident of a footballer being involved with the law, whether it's a physical altercation or another sort of incident. So obviously, many footballers can relate in that regard. I don't know if his football career is over. I think that might be a bit strong. It's only really just took off the ground, hasn't it? I mean, obviously, a few years ago, he was scoring goals at Swansea. He's not quite delivered in the Premier League, especially this season, nor of his team. But he's been involved in an incident, isn't it? He doesn't know. Obviously, the video surfaced on social media. For me, there's probably a bit more to it than this. I mean, obviously, it's only a 30-second clip, but it does almost maybe feel a little bit like it might be a bit prolonged. It might have gone on a little bit longer. We don't know. It is just all speculation. So, it doesn't look good on his part, yes, but of course, it's how you rebuild it. It's how you come back from this. Obviously, you don't want to have him, have this go down as many things or certain episodes that could plague his career potentially. You might just hope it's a one-off sort of flash in the pan. But it is a sad sight to see, and you don't like seeing footballers get in trouble, especially with altercation with lads. But it might just be there might be something else that might have provoked it. We honestly don't know, but it certainly doesn't look good on him, and certainly a bit unwanted press for his club, given their situation and their plight in the Premier League for sure.
Yes, and also we've just been seeing some footage there from the first half at Old Trafford, and it looked as though in the build-up to the goal by Mason Greenwood that Amad Diallo, the ball may have struck the arm of Amad Diallo in the build-up before when the ball came over the top before he found Mason Greenwood who finished. Do you feel from that incident, from the replays we've just seen there, that the VAR could have potentially ruled it out for an handball?
Well, I think obviously there is no doubt about it that it does come off his hand, but his hand is is in a position where he doesn't know anything about it. He's trying to get the ball on his chest. It's obviously skidded off that and sort of brushed his hand, which is obviously very clear to see on the replays. But he can't do a lot about it. He doesn't know a lot about it. His hand is almost trying to go down essentially when that ball does reach that particular part of his body. So I don't even think there was a need to go to VAR. It didn't go to VAR. And I think it was rightly so. There's not a lot you can do in that situation. If it happened from a defensive point of view, if it happened to Thomas, you wouldn't give it a penalty. So you can't really disallow Greenwood's goal in that sense.
But I get what you're saying, but in the rule book, he says if the ball comes off an hand and then sets up a goal, which he did. He said made him control himself, and then he said to Mason Greenwood's goal. Then the goal should be disallowed for the handball. But the obviously didn't follow the rules there, and they've allowed it to stand. So if Man United go on to win this, it could be a big talking point in the game from the game.
I mean, obviously, by the letter of the law, yes, you are correct. It does obviously have his arm, and it does obviously influence that because he sets the chance up for Greenwood to equalise. But his arm's in a natural position. It's not in an unnatural position. If his arm was up in the air when he's trying to take the ball under control and it's bounced off his hand, and obviously the goal has been given, that's when you say for me it's controversial. But his hand is in a position that he doesn't really know a lot about. His mind's on other things. And obviously, as I said, it just sort of brushed his hand. There is no doubt about it that here is a contact. And what you're saying is right, Russ, but it's in a natural position for me. And I don't think it's enough to disallow the goal in any way, shape or form.
Yes, we're both entitled to his own opinions and express them that we've both had in a calm manner, and then it'd be interesting to see what Brendan Rodgers has to say if he sees that back after the game, see what he has to say regarding that situation. There will be getting back for the second half in a moment, and Manchester United went 1-0 down in this game, but then they've come back and are now leading, and now drawing at the break, should I say, no. If Man United were to go on this and to lose this game, how do you feel who do you think would be the happier of the two managers at the break, Martin? If you was both managers, who would you turn to first on your bench if you were to go on to try and win this game?
Well, it's before I sort of answer the substitute question who you'd bring on. I just actually like to say I did see a statistic here, and I don't know if Russ or Jack actually saw this, but Man United have won 31 points from losing positions this season. That tally alone would be enough to sit outside the relegation zone, given the position of Fulham, West Brom, and Sheffield United in terms of how many points they've accumulated. So they are a side, United, who do make things hard for themselves, but they are very good at coming from behind. They did it on Sunday against Villa. There's been countless times. Obviously, Tottenham a few weeks ago they did. I mean, there was a game against Brighton. They came from behind. So obviously back in April. So they're very accustomed to it and they're very good at it. In terms of the first half, I think obviously both sides managers are a little bit disappointed. I think, maybe Solskjaer will be slightly happy because his, side that's very, very different. A lot of players who've not had a lot of minutes are still in this game against a pretty strong Leicester side. Obviously, they are missing Johnny Evans. Yes, Harvey Barnes isn't in the team, but, you've still got Fofana, Soyuncu, Vardy, Inacho, Schmeichel playing. So there isn't that big a miss involved in that respect. So I think maybe Solskjaer slightly, but he'll know that his side can give a little bit more given the quality that they have. And I think Leicester the same. In terms of the benches, United's bench speaks for itself. I mean, you probably won't see behind Manchester City, you won't see a better bench in the Premier League all season. I mean, Fernandes, Rashford, Pogba, Cavani, that is absolutely outstanding talent. So you could pick anybody to come on in that respect. I think Ilanga and Diallo won't really finish 90 minutes for me. I'd be surprised if Mata did. But I almost was saying in commentary, I think I'd be reluctant to bring those players on because of the game on Thursday and the magnitude of it and how the rivalry is between United and Liverpool. And you look at Leicester's bench, obviously James Maddison's a name that stands out. maybe Dennis Pratt might come on should things, look to be one of those where you try and shore things up. So, I think they'd be the two players that you look to bring on. I think Ricardo maybe for a bit more legs if Albrighton tires out, which he never really seems to do. So, it's going to be very, very interesting to see when those changes get made, and more importantly, who comes on and who gets replaced.
Yes, it will indeed. It looks as though to me as the Man United players just going through the last little bit of their warm up while they're waiting for Leicester to come out. It looks like Manchester United will not be making any half time substitutions. We're still awaiting Leicester, and they're coming out now from looking what I can see here from that first half with Craig Pawson also making his way out onto the field. It looks like Leicester making no half-time alterations. So, with that in mind, and Leicester now making their way out onto the field at Old Trafford for the second half coverage, we'll hand you back to your match commentary team of Matt Iles and first Jack Cunningham.
Thanks, Russ and Matt. Some good chat at half-time as always. So Leicester have not won at Old Trafford since January 1998. A goal from Tony Cottee gave the Foxes the win. So it shows you the task that they have in the second half if they are to essentially put the seal on their Champions League place for next season. They have to do something they haven't done for a very, very long time. How do you see the second half going, Matt, just before we get underway?
It's going to be very interesting, isn't it? I mean, obviously, we kind of saw both sides probably fall short enough in terms of quality, and probably they could give another gear. So that would be interesting to see. It's just how they start. Leicester started really fast in that first half. United's equaliser got them in check, but obviously, as we know, Leicester will be open to get back in front, as will United. So it just depends if they both start on the front foot.
Straight away, our ball played into Albrighton. Obviously, we have now changed ends. So it's Leicester kicking from left to right, and it's Albrighton. Lovely ball in. Iheanacho. Can Iheanacho work the space for a shot? He can, and it's blocked, and it's going to be a corner. Well, that's the fast start that Leicester would have wanted.
Yeah, it comes into Iheanacho there. The angle completely is closed off by Axel Tuanzebe. He just sort of stands in front of him, doesn't he? Or in this case, sort of just kneels down to get the shot blocked. So better from Leicester. Just that ball into Iheanacho. Very, very quick thinking.
Albrighton to take. His corner, his set piece delivery was poor in the first half. This needs to be better. Whips it in, and again, head away at the front post. Perez into Ndidi, who on the turn goes for the spectacular and hits it miles wide. Not a player who scores that often. Only one goal this season. Wilfred Ndidi, and that was a header against Chelsea, not a 25-yard volley on the spin.
Yeah, you can see why indeed he's only got one goal this season. He's got the right idea. I think he's certainly in his rights to try it, but I think only a few certain players in that Leicester team could have probably pulled that off. And indeed, he is certainly one that you wouldn't expect to do so. And that was very much the case with that attempt from the Nigerian.
Teles, well, straight away, Leicester pushing so much higher up the field because Tielemans was on Matt's toes there. And it's forced Manchester United back deep inside their own half, which Teles is going to take this throw in, and he finds Tuanzebe with an interesting ball back towards Bai, but in the end it goes across to Williams, and Williams finds Van de Beek, who rolls past his man, and he's got some runners, but he can't find Juan Mata. Tielemans read that all the way. Tielemans just dawdle him on the ball, and away comes Mason Greenwood. Greenwood wrestled to the floor by Ndidi, and I make that Ndidi's third foul of this match so far.
Yeah, he's one more, and you feel he's going to get a booking, isn't it? It was a rash challenge again. It's a needless foul, isn't it, on Mason Greenwood? That's the second time he's fouled him. So I think Ndidi is not actually liking Mason Greenwood. I think there might be a bit of a personal vendetta, judging what we've seen so far in the opening 47.5 minutes of this contest.
I'm surprised he hasn't been booked after 3 fouls, to be honest. But
yeah.
Obviously, Pawson not in the mood for that. Matic just goes into another gear. Glides past a couple, but in the end, just back to Teles. This is now Tuanzebe once more. Into Van de Beek. Matic again. Into Teles. Teles down the line. Inviting Elanga onto it, but Fofana sees him out of play quite comfortably. And the rain has once again started. Obviously, some heavy showers in Manchester this evening. As it stands, City will not be winning the Premier League title, and Leicester will be 6 points clear of West Ham. With 2 games to go, West Ham will still have a third game to play. So that's why I don't think a draw really does anything for Leicester, to be honest, that they need to win if they want it done over and done with. This is Van der Beek into Matic. Matic into Greenwood. Greenwood, indeed, once more, but Greenwood rides the tackle. Alanga into Telesh again. This is Matic and Alanga trying to play through the Brazilian, but didn't quite have the technique on that occasion. Clearly, maybe struggling with the pressure on his debut, Alanga, because quite a few basic things haven't gone his way, but obviously very young, so you can't judge him too much.
He does almost just feel a little bit like he's a bag of nerves, doesn't it, Alanga? And, maybe, some of these young players that make their debuts, they love the idea of a crowd being in amongst it, don't they? I mean, we saw Marcus Rashford when he exploded onto the scene in that Europa League game, what was he talking now, 5 years ago? Absolutely excelled, didn't he? And, really thrived and took it in his stride. Maybe that's what Ilanga needs.
Leicester win it back, Ndidi, but Diallo shows some good resilience there to beat Ndidi to the ball and holds on to it long enough to get it out. And away come Manchester United now. It's Alanga into Greenwood. It's a 3-on-3 for a moment. Greenwood couldn't find Alanga. He was in behind. And then the young man bundles Fofana at the floor. Very frustrated there, Alanga, because he did everything right. And Greenwood's pass wasn't up to scratch.
Yeah, and that's a surprise, isn't it? That Greenwood's passing was a little bit off. He almost just give it straight to Wesley Fofana. He didn't even have to move or even dangle a leg to even intercept it. And then obviously, Greenwood rushed it. He needs to play it away from Fofana rather than into Fofana on that occasion, because Elanga made a really good run. The first time we've really seen him get in behind the Leicester defence, but obviously was unable to be found from Mason Greenwood there.
Castagna trying to find Albrighton. Albrighton's won it back in the box. Dawdling by Twanzebe into Iheanacho. Iheanacho looking to line up the shot. Well wide, Iheanacho. He got the curl on it in the end, but made it curl about 10 yards wide rather than 20 yards wide.
Yeah, I mean, he was in a good position to strike at goal, but obviously, he almost just sort of was, off balance when he took aim. And when that happens, the execution's always going to be poor. And David De Gea was statuesque in the goals. He just watched it go to his right and out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, if I was Albrighton, I'd be disappointed with that, because he didn't give up on what looked like a lost cause. Turned it into something, and Iheanacho's blazed it well wide. De Gea into Alanga, who wins his flick on, finds Mata. Great header, that. And now Alanga looking to take on 2 men. Drives on the outside past Castagna, but Castagna shows his experience and deals with it. Poor giveaway by Leicester, though. It's Mata. Tielemans redeems himself. Slips it into Iheanacho, who hits the floor very easily. No foul there. And this is Matic once more. Much more lively start of the second half this than the first half ended.
Yeah, a bit more of an intent, isn't there, between both these sides? I mean, it does almost feel like there is a lot more space opening up for both sides to try and attack into and counter on. But of course, at the moment, both sides just about scrambling back to just do enough. And there is that point you feel in this game where maybe one defence is going to get completely caught out. But in the opening 7 minutes of this second half, that hasn't been the case.
And we're 52 minutes in. Here is Manchester United 1, Leicester City 1. You're listening on Football Commentary Live with me, Jack Cunningham, and Matt Iles. Telesh there. We're going to glide through a few. Greenwood links up again with him, but indeed he follows him all the way. Into Iheanacho now, but good defending by Twanzebe, just shrugs him off. And Matic filling in as a third centre-back. He's done that quite a lot this evening. Into Brandon Williams. He's got Mata with him. And in the end, he just goes back to Eric Bailly. Be interested to see how long it takes for, either Rodgers or Solskjaer to make the changes. This is Telesh down the line to Greenwood. That's a silly foul by Fofana. He's made a couple of those tonight. No need for that. Greenwood not really going anywhere, and it's a chance for, well, Red Devils to get men in the box.
Yeah, he's by the left-hand touchline, isn't he, Greenwood? And yeah, there is a little shrug from Wesley Fofana. He can have no complaints about it. It's an area where if you get enough on that free kick, you can certainly pick out a red shirt in Man United's case. So Wesley Fofana will be certainly hoping in particular that nothing comes of this, as
Well,
Ilanga and Telej are both around this.
Absolutely no surprise to see Telej over at 57 assists for Porto in his time there. So he's definitely got an absolutely lethal delivery. He's got 2 assists this season in the Premier League so far as well. So no surprise he's over this. It will be Telej. Whips it in. It's a brilliant ball and it's headed away at the near post. That is great defender by Castagna, but what a vicious ball in that was by Alex Telej.
I was there thinking in my head, if he just tries to get in that space that's been created and emptied for him to put it in, then that's a real danger sign for Leicester. It's a really good delivery. Greenwood actually just gets a little touch to it via the glance on that right side of his head, but Castagna's behind him, acting as the wall, and does well to head it behind for a corner, and that's the best he could have done there, to be honest.
Yeah, if Greenwood got a better contact on that, could have been 2-1. Telej whips it in, and it's flicked on. It might reach a red shirt. It's hammered away, and going to be pulled back for a foul.
Yeah, they wanted handball, didn't they, Manchester United? It was Jamie Vardy that got fouled in there. It was Ahmad. Yeah, it just goes into the back of him, doesn't it? It certainly goes
Very
off his arm. They were right to appeal it, but yeah, good spot by Craig Pawson to give Leicester City a free kick in their own half.
Yeah, this is Fofana. Going to carry the ball out. He's got Soyuncu across in the left centre-back role. Finds the Turk. Back into Fofana. He finds Castagna, who's played 5 different positions this season for Leicester. Very, very versatile. Climbing over the top of them there, Twanzebe, but Tielemans can find Albrighton. Albrighton's going to get there. Albrighton sends it into the box. It's a poor cross, really. And Twanzebe covers in the end. But for a moment there, it looked like Leicester were in behind and there was a good opportunity, but the cross wasn't up to scratch.
I think Albrighton doesn't actually realise that he could have really took that in a little bit more, even further into the pitch. He could have got to the corner of that right-hand box and just looked up, and he had so much time because all the United defenders just sort of stayed on the 6-yard line, didn't they? They just sort of stayed, just acting as a wall for David De Gea, but Albrighton has really missed a good opportunity, and if he had that opportunity again, I think he would have played that out because he didn't actually realise he had as much time as he did.
Castagna into Albrighton. This is once again Castagna into Ndidi. Ndidi looks up. He's got Iheanacho with him and he clips it over to Vardy. Vardy finds Ayoze Perez. Perez drills it into Luke Thomas. Back to Soyuncu. Into Ndidi. Seeing very little of Vardy and Perez this evening, really. Castagna finds Albrighton. Albrighton into Tielemans. That's a nice ball around the corner. Albrighton once more. Into Tielemans. Tielemans looks up, plays it in, but not the best cross. And Twanzebe deals with it. Perez wins the flick on. Smashed away by Diallo. Only as far as Wesley Fofana, though. The Foxes penning Man United in now.
Yeah, they just can't get out, can they, the Red Devils? They're just almost situated in their own area, aren't they? They're just almost sitting there, letting Leicester come to them. That's the least they can do at the moment because Leicester had all the possession in this second half so far.
Soyuncu with a fantastic ball into Albrighton. Albrighton on this near side. Back to Timothy Castagna. He plays it inside to Iheanacho. Ndidi, they're working the space now. Soyuncu once more. And Ndidi, and then Fofana once again. This is now Albrighton on this right-hand touchline. Into Tielemans. He's got the run of... It's an absolutely brilliant ball to Thomas. Thomas in the box. Drills it across. Perez was waiting. It comes to Ndidi, who thumps it hard against Diallo. But Leicester have the ball. Another throw-in. As you say, Manchester United cannot get out as Maddison goes for a warm-up.
Yeah, it was a really pinpoint pass, wasn't it, by Tielemans to Thomas, who had so much space, did everything right, took on the chest, looked up, played it in. It was good defending, actually, by Manchester United. I think it was Van der Beek who was in there, got the clearance. It came to Ndidi. Well done, Amad Diallo, just getting in that right place just to stop the shot going toward David De Gea's goal. But Leicester just maybe smelling that they could get a second goal and retake the league there.
Tielemans into Iheanacho. Iheanacho trying to get onto that left foot, but Twanzebe reads it well and then comes away with it from Albrighton. That's brilliant defending by Axel Tuanzebe. You know what Iheanacho's going to do, but it's a case of how do you stop it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was really smart defending from Tuanzebe. He just stands up, doesn't he? Some defenders in that situation could just maybe dive in, but he just decided just to stand up and not allow Iheanacho to go on his left foot, which, as we know, is you could say a bit of a wand.
Yeah, lethal weapon at the moment. This is Castagna into Albrighton again, but Leicester certainly now starting to pick up those pockets of space. It's Tielemans. It's in Iheanacho. Iheanacho in on goal. Denied by De Gea. And Thomas gets away with it. Perez can't reach it. Vardy can't reach it either. And Manchester United scrambling away, but they're clinging on here, the Red Devils.
Yeah, they are. Iheanacho finally gets that chance at goal. And it's a really good save by Dare because all he's got to do is just cover his near post. He's just got to make sure that he doesn't let any sort of room. The angles are cute enough as it is. And Iheanacho tries to open up to go to the far corner on De Gea's right, but he just cannot open enough. And De Gea makes the save. And then United made a bit of a mess of clearing their lines. Eventually they did it. But that is Leicester, really knocking on the door and just adding that extra ingredient to potentially getting back into the lead.
Here's Iheanacho again. He's gliding through them all, but then just as he was about to pull the trigger, his touch let him down. But Leicester come again. Yeah, I mean, it was a brilliant pass by Tielemans in behind, wasn't it? And he's really starting to dictate this game now. Indeed, he finds the Belgian, Yuri Tielemans, looking to advance forward. He slips it into Albrighton. Albrighton looks up, glides past Elanga, clips it into the box, headed away at the front post. Soyuncu finds Ndidi. Ndidi into Iheanacho again. He looks to shoot. Iheanacho hits it, blocked. Comes out to Yuri Tielemans. Soyuncu once more. The pressure is really on now. Ndidi into Albrighton. Albrighton onto his left foot. Floats the delightful ball in. Just over the top of Jamie Vardy. I thought that was landing pinpoint on the head of the 34-year-old, but just a bit too much on it this time.
Yeah, Man United aren't weathering a storm either. They're weathering a hurricane. It really has just been one-way traffic. And Leicester, you just nearly got in again, but United just about do enough. Tuanzebe and Bayer have been so busy in this second half. They barely had anything to do in the first half, and it's very, very good to see that they've been alive and alert and they've been very concentrated right from the word go in this second half. But Brendan Rodgers decided doing almost everything right. Just can't quite get that final ball. And secondly, as well, more importantly, just can't quite get that goal.
Yeah, it looks like James Maddison's coming on. But for Manchester United, Cavani, Pogba and Fernandes warming up. Looks like Cavani is coming on for the Red Devils. 15 goals this season in 35 appearances. I think everyone thought he was a bit of a pointless signing, but I'll tell you what, he's proven everyone wrong and he's still an elite striker.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, his goal record at Paris Saint-Germain was actually superb, wasn't it? I mean, Ibrahimovic really shone above him in sort of the few years they played together. But obviously, one thing about Edison Cavani that stands out, his movement is absolutely phenomenal. And you've got to say as well, he's played in a lot of the so-called smaller games. He's been the man in the Europa League, the cup competitions. He's been used a lot. And obviously, they know that his age is going to have a preference on him playing 2-3 games a week. But when he has stepped into the team, he has been absolutely superb.
Here's Diallo bursting past Ndidi, but then Tielemans showing that not only can he pass the ball gorgeously, he can tackle well as well, because he put in a crucial block on Diallo there because Manchester United were away. This is a brilliant tackle by Tielemans.
Yeah, it is, and it's almost a little welcome to English football, isn't it, for Ahmad Diallo? Tielemans is a really good challenge and just goes into the side, just probably knocked the wind out of Diallo's sails that went into his side. But yeah, it was better from Diallo. First time we've seen him really in the second half have a driving run. But Yuri Tielemans, as you sort of mentioned earlier on, Jack, is growing into this game and he could be a real important figure for Leicester if they are to get anything from it.
Well, can't say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's hanging around, and neither is Brendan Rodgers. We're going to have Maddison, Cavani and Rashford onto the field as we approach the final 25 minutes or so of this game. So getting the big guns on now. Rashford did score against Leicester earlier on in the season. And, well, he's had a brilliant season, to be fair, but he only got 3 goals in his last 13 league games, actually, has Marcus Rashford. But he's only 23 and he's played... 267 games for Manchester United, still only 23. So God knows how many games he's actually going to end up on by the time he's finished. This is Brandon Williams into Diallo. Ball down the line by Van der Beek into Greenwood. This is a bit better by Manchester United. Mason Greenwood now. Just shoved off the ball, though, by Ndidi. And it's Perez. Perez finds Vardy. Vardy looking to get the ball in the box. He hits it hard all the way across. Albrighton's going to collect. I'm going to square up Alex Telles. Instead, he plays it back to Castagna into Iheanacho. Castagna again, once more. Into Fofana now. This is Ndidi. Fofana just outside of the centre circle. Into Castagna once again. Albrighton hugging this right-hand touchline, as you would expect him to do. And back to Castagna. Leicester slowing it down a bit now. And Manchester United drop deep into their shape and invite the Foxes on. Fofana finds Albrighton. Albrighton thought he was going to play in a natural there instead, but he finds Castagna once again. This is now Fofana once more. Albrighton. Albrighton, clever ball into a natural. It's Tuanzebe straight away. He's back. Forces him back, does Tuanzebe, but this is Albrighton now. Can he get the cross in? Telles blocks it at the near post. You can tell Albrighton's disappointed with his delivery there.
Yeah, and I think he'd be disappointed with his deliveries all evening. I think that's been the one thing that's pretty much let him down, isn't it? You know, in terms of his crossing and free kick, because he didn't really put a lot on it. The whip wasn't really there. The pace was off. And it just sort of just bounced off Telles and went out of play.
Off comes Iosi Perez for James Maddison. Not Perez this evening. Not really got on the ball as much as you would have liked, maybe. Worked hard as he always does. But yeah, I don't know. This season for Leicester, certainly, Perez has certainly not been as good as we all know he can be. Looks like Mason Greenwood's coming off, which I'm a bit surprised about. But also, he's been an important first-team player recently. So, and again.
Yeah, he's looking ahead to Thursday night, isn't he? I think he knows that Greenwood's an important player and he'll be a real, problem for the Liverpool defence, which has looked shaky at times. So, to be honest, Jack, I can't say I'm too disappointed and too surprised with that.
No, definitely not. And that is Edison Cavani and Marcus Rashford. And off goes Alanga, who I guess you could say he had a mixed bag of a debut. Showed a lot of flashes, but then there was a few maybe basic things that'll come with playing more first-team football that he was maybe lacking. But there's certainly something about him, and it'll be interesting to see how his career develops at Old Trafford. But for now, we're going to have this corner. Albrighton whips it in. That's a lot better. Climbing. It's an absolutely brilliant header by Carlos Soyuncu. He climbed above everyone and he smashed an absolutely fantastic bullet header into the net. And it is Manchester United 1, Leicester 2. And when we're talking about the delivery, that was spot on by Albrighton. And Soyuncu was the grateful recipient.
Yeah, bit of the commentator's curse, wasn't it, by myself? So I do apologise, Mark Albrighton. No disrespect intended. What a superb delivery it is. Right, bang on the money. And Carlos Soyuncu gets up above the Nemanja Matic, who for me just looks completely bullied in that situation. The height between Matic and Soyuncu, there's not a great difference in it. But Soyuncu is the difference in there because he wants it more. He gets up and he means it's a bullet header beyond David De Gea, who even if he had the longest arms in the world would have done very, very well to keep that out. Bullet header, so much power, so much pace, commanding. And that is exactly what you want from a player, attacking the ball. Brilliant header by Soyuncu. Bullied Matic there. Leicester 2-1 up. And rightly are 2-1 up as well, Jack.
Yeah, totally deserved. It's been coming, hasn't it? But totally not against the run of play, sorry, totally with the run of play. And Rashford and Cavani now have got a rescue job on their hands. But yeah, Matic there just didn't get off the ground, did he really? And it was a brilliant header by Soyuncu. That's what you want to see, isn't it? It reminded me of John Terry on Nemanja Vidic, climbing over everyone, powering in a great header. And it's probably one of my favourite sights in football, to be honest, a bullet header like that. And that was certainly the definition of a bullet header. This is Matic trying to work it through to Rashford, but going to be brought back for a foul. So 67 minutes gone. Leicester in the driving seat now, looking for that first win at Old Trafford since 1998. Are they going to get it? Are they going to do it? Are they going to edge towards the top four? Are they going to get the Champions League? Well, at the moment, it's all looking good for the Foxes, but I don't think Manchester United are going to give up, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has shown with his substitutions. So we're in for a fascinating last 20 minutes, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously as well, it'll be playing on the United players' minds and the manager that if they lose this game, then it is officially over, isn't it, in terms of the title race? Yeah. And Manchester City cannot be caught. But, this is where you want Rashford to really step up now. He has been a big game player for Manchester United, to be fair to him. This is where he really needs to be coming up from the ashes, if you like. United are pretty much on their feet, look really off the pace. He's got to try and ignite some spark into this team, which has just not been there at all tonight.
Here's Thomas in behind. Thomas does really well, actually. Squeeze it out too. James Maddison. It'd be interesting how Leicester approach it now as well. Are they going to go for that killer third, or they're going to be more happy to just sort of keep the ball and make Manchester United do all the work? This is Castagna into Albrighton once more. Castagna into Fofana, but you can straight away see the Red Devils are pushed at least 10 yards further up the pitch, but that's giving more space for the likes of Ndidi there, who's just got acres in the middle. Clips it out to the goal scorer, Soyuncu. Into Kasper Schmeichel, who clips it forward. Vardy goes up, beaten in the air by Bailly. Maddison brings it down well. And it's going to be a free kick to Leicester. Luke Thomas foul. Well, could have been a free kick, but we play on. Soyuncu nearly lost the ball there. That would have been real hero to zero moment, but he got away with it. Yeah, that is that. It will be the Premier League title. Manchester City's. I mean, let's be fair. I mean, it was over a long time ago, but I guess the Red Devils would like to make City wait, I guess, a bit more. But as it stands, it will be all over. This is Castagna into Iheanacho, who's just let it run away from him, but he's picked it up brilliantly. And now he plays it into Maddison, who's not fouled on the edge of the box. I thought he was, but apparently not. Matic with a clever ball.
Offside.
To Cavani, who's offside.
Now the flag does go up, but I must admit, I did think James Maddison was actually fouled there. Iheanacho with a great recovery. Williams goes into the back of him. Maddison just steps forward because he knows he's going to get on the end of it. Williams is the wrong side of him, right on the edge of the box. Leicester can count themselves unlucky there because that should have been a free kick. That's probably the first bad decision that Craig Pawson's made in the game for me tonight.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe indeed he's not been booked as well. But
oh yeah, of course, yeah, very good point. Yeah, I mean, you could also say as well maybe Wesley Fofana. He's probably a little bit lucky to get away with a yellow card as well. Actually,
ball clipped forward, flicked on towards Vardy. Vardy heads it back into the middle, but there's no one in a blue shirt. Only Donny van de Beek.
I'll be absolutely astonished, Jack, if Bruno Fernandes does not enter the field of play. Yes, Solskjaer doesn't want to bring him on. Yes, of course, he's saving it for Liverpool. But at the moment, United are letting Manchester City have the title without even playing a game. So they need to salvage something here, of course, to just keep them waiting just maybe a couple more days and one more game, perhaps.
This is Matic all the way back to here. Yeah, I would be very surprised if we don't see Bruno. Bailly slides it into Diallo, into Van de Beek, who he's been overwhelmed in the second half as Van de Beek. It's Tielemans. Is he going to hit it? Tielemans hits it. Blocked by Twanzebe. But the space really opened up for Yuri Tielemans, and he's shown he's got an eye for goal this season. 6 goals for Leicester in the league. But good block in the end. But yeah, can't blame Tielemans for having a shot there.
No, you can't. And he's somebody in this second half for Leicester. It's not a coincidence that they've been a lot better. And that's as well down to the fact that he's been a lot better. He's such a good player, Yuri Tielemans. He's somebody who, doesn't actually get a lot of credit for what he does in this Leicester team. He's so energetic. He's really good on the ball. He's not afraid to shoot. He's a real all-round midfielder that I don't actually think you've actually got in the Premier League these days. I mean, I'd love to know who else sort of falls in that category alongside him. He's a top player, a real joy to watch. And you're quite rightly saying that, and it's spot on that Donny van de Beek has been overwhelmed, you could say. He's been the man on his side down that right in the middle. You could probably even say to an extent maybe Nemanja Matic, but has been a real good
giveaway by Matic. Albrighton slides it in behind for Iheanacho. Iheanacho got no one in a blue shirt with him. Now they're arriving. He floats over a brilliant ball to Vardy, who heads it across to Tielemans, who can't convert and ends up in the post. Hope he's okay, but that was nearly the killer third. Oh, Tielemans is in quite a bit of trouble there by the looks of it, but this was brilliant by Iheanacho. Fantastic cross, lovely curl on it. Vardy does everything right, and Tielemans is inches away from scoring, just not quite the contact required, and he's gone into the post there, and he's hit his ankle by the looks of it.
Yeah, the only thing you can take away from it is probably a bit of a bruise and maybe a bit of a muscle injury perhaps, but no, it was brilliant play. What a ball in by Iheanacho. Vardy just peels away off Eric Bailly. He's really struggled at times to deal with Jamie Vardy. He unselfishly lays it off to Tielemans. Perfect thing to do. Tielemans goes on rushing in, comes in, looking like he's going to get a touch to it, but he is literally fine margins away from touching that in. And if he does get the contact, Leicester go 3-1 up. And really, really good play by Vardy. Tielemans so unlucky.
Mate gives it away, picked up by Albrighton, but Matic is in there. But Leicester are hungry now. The Foxes are hunting. This is now Tuanzebe drills it forward. Cavani dominated in the air by Wesley Fofana there.
Yeah, it was a really good header by Wesley Fofana. We've seen him do that quite a few times tonight, where he's come stepping out a long way from the centre of defence to try and attack the ball or go close to his man. He was obviously dealing with Greenwood, and him and Cavani are two very different players. Cavani will embrace the physical side, whereas Greenwood likes the ball on his chest into his feet so he can spin his man. So he's got to really adapt and show how capable he is against one of Europe's most consistent strikers over the past few years in Edinson Cavani.
This is now Van der Beek into by 74 minutes gone out. It was Manchester United 1, Leicester 2. As it stands, City will be champions and Leicester, well, won't be Champions League sealed, but it'll be pretty much top four race over. This is Matic into Mata. This is better from Manchester United into Telles. Cavani's made the run. He's hit it towards the back post as Telles and sails well wide of Schmeichel's post. But you could see as soon as Telles got the ball, Cavani made that dart and run across the front. The ball just wasn't quite on the money on that occasion.
Yeah, when it gets to around the final sort of 18, 25 yards of the opposition defensive half, Edinson Cavani comes alive. He almost just is awake. And you know exactly what he's going to try and do. He's going to try and make that run toward that position. Him and Telles were on the same wavelength there. It was just unfortunate the Brazilian's cross was just overhit and he put just too much on it. But that is what is going to be the big thing for Manchester United. They're going to look toward Cavani, any possible opportunity. It was just unfortunate that cross just didn't quite have the right execution behind it.
Headed away by Tuanzebe. Castagna back in towards the Manchester United half, and Maddison's nicked it, and he's got Vardy with him. It's got caught in his feet. There was a 3-on-2 break for a moment, but he's managed to find Albrighton. Albrighton clips it towards the back post. Vardy, it's going to drop for Iheanacho, who tries to bring it down, and it's thumped away by Matic. Cavani with it. Oh, that's a brilliant header. And here comes Marcus Rashford now. Rashford takes a heavy touch, and Fofana comes in. Brilliant tackle, but what a brilliant header by Cavani, but Rashford couldn't make anything of it.
Yeah, it was just a shame that Rashford was practically inside his own half when he received it from that really clever header from Cavani into his path. But you get Rashford on the go. He's got pace to burn, isn't he? He drove it a long way forward. But as we know as well, he's got a man in front of him, and Wesley Fofana, who likes a running race and usually does come out on top. That was a perfectly executed sliding challenge by the young French defender who, if he carries on the way he is at Leicester, maybe in his second season, maybe there'll be suitors higher up taking note of him and maybe looking to try and get him in. I'm not trying to say, Leicester need to sell him or anything. I'm not trying to, make his plea to leave the Foxes because they're in a very good position. He's going to be getting Champions League football, but maybe if the position opens up for a centre back at Manchester City or something else, he might be the man they look to.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a point where Diallo has fouled Söyüncü there, but I think we're going to just carry on from Schmeichel. Yeah, I can see a point. I think the thing is, he's only 20. He's already clearly looks like he's been playing in the Premier League for about 5 years. That's probably the biggest compliment you can pay him, really. He doesn't look like a youngster at all. Looks totally experienced, totally calm. But, if Leicester do sell him, you'd think it could be for an absolutely extortionate fee. I mean, they sold Harry Maguire for 80 million. I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about that, but if he keeps going the way he is, then you would be talking that sort of fee. That's a lovely turn by Rashford. He's got Cavani with him. Can he slide him through? No, he can't. Indeed, he picks it up. And this game's been really stretched now, really entertaining one for the neutrals. That's a clever idea in behind. Poor touch by Tuanzebe. Finds Iheanacho. Iheanacho finds Maddison. Maddison gets onto his right foot. James Maddison wide of the far post, but you knew what Maddison was going to do there, wasn't it? Shift it on that right foot, try and curl it towards that far corner. Not quite enough bend on that occasion.
Yeah, exactly. And he just goes on the inside of Van der Beek, but it was just too much on it from James Maddison as De Gea saw it past his post.
Well, you did say we would see Bruno, and there he goes. Off goes Amad Diallo, an assist on his Premier League debut. Really lively first half. Say the game's caught up with him in the second half, and he's been a bit overwhelmed. No surprise, Bruno comes on for his 49th Premier League appearance. He's just got the 25 goals in that time.
Yeah, he's outstanding, isn't he, Bruno Fernandes? I think there'll be a massive positive influence and lift on this pitch for United. Whenever a player of his talent is being introduced from the bench, I think it almost just makes the players stand up and take note. And obviously the fans at home can feel maybe just a little bit more confident that United can get back into it. Because as we know, United do like coming from behind to get positive results in the Premier League this season.
Bruno shoves off Soyuncu there, and then he looks up and he clips a ball in behind for Van der Beek. But away comes Ndidi, and this is a chance for Leicester now. It's Iheanacho. Ndidi's made the run in behind. Vardy's there as well, but Tuanzebe deals with it with two Leicester men closing him down, but good defending in the end.
Yeah, it's the right idea. That's the first real breakaway we've seen from Wilfred Ndidi. Just unfortunate that the ball went away from him as he got closer toward the United box, and Tuanzebe just did the right thing and safely nodded it back to De Gea.
Matic splits the lines, and Cavani can't quite collect Bruno's pass, but straight away, Manchester United look a little bit more threatening with the Portuguese maestro on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. You know what he's going to do? He's going to try and get those pockets of spaces. I mean, I remember watching Leeds against Manchester United a few weeks ago, and Calvin Phillips just completely followed him at every opportunity. He ate his space up whenever he found those little pockets. So Leicester, maybe with Hamza Chowdhury coming on now, might just see that with Fernandes and just say to him, look, just follow him, keep an eye on him, just don't let him lose your sight of him at any given point, because as we know, if he's given space, he'll usually produce quality or score some quality.
Well, you can see what Leicester are intending to do now. And also, I just saw the formation. It's going to be 5-4-1 for the Foxes. So they're looking to seal this one out. Iheanacho up top. Hamza Chowdhury, well, first touch there, straight out play. It's only his 10th Premier League appearance this season, to be fair. Very highly rated, but not being able to break that Ndidi Tielemans partnership. And, well, you can see why, really. It's
a good partnership to try and break down, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to struggle. This is into Brandon Williams. Williams leaves it for Bruno. Once more. This is Fernandes again. Into Matic, who's playing literally as a centre-back now. He's got Tuanzebe with him. He finds Tuanzebe. This is now Telesh. Telesh into Cavani. Cavani can't link up, and this is where Leicester can break. Albrighton smashes the ball into Iheanacho, and it's 1 blue shirt against 7 red shirts, but he manages to hold it up well and find Maddison.
Yeah, he does really well there, Iheanacho, because he's smart, because he knows he's not going to outpace those 7 United players that were just inside their own half. He's just got to just stay calm and just hold it, and then just give it back to Maddison or give it to a blue shirt, which he did really, really well.
Soyuncu then just gives it away poorly, and Bruno has got Cavani running in behind, and Cavani brings it down. But Fofana comes across, and Cavani is absolutely taken out the Frenchman. But Fofana, again, reading the game so well, because Soyuncu made the error, but Fofana was there, using his pace, using his reading of the game, and it's a blatant foul by the Uruguayan in the end.
Yeah, Soyuncu's temporarily out of position, is he? That leaves a big gaping hole, and Fofana, as we know, is so quick. He'll just, eat that ground up really quickly, get in the position he wants, and he just knows if I get in front of Cavani, I'll probably win a free kick. And he did exactly that. Really smart play by the French defender, showing just how good he is, probably years ahead of what his age really is.
And we're into the final 10 minutes of the game. It's 82 minutes. It's still Manchester United 1, Leicester 2. Big result for, the Premier League title race and the top 4 race as well. Bruno gives it away, picked up by Mark Albrighton, who tries to use some pace, but Telesh reads it well. Ndidi, back to Tielemans. Tielemans into Ndidi. They are just a brilliant midfield to them, pairing them two. Castagna down the line to Albrighton. Albrighton wins the flick on, but Iheanacho's not going to get that. And it comes to Nemanja Matic. Matic just over the halfway line. Clips it out towards Brandon Williams. He's got a lot of time, but Leicester have got no interest in engaging him that high up the field. into Matic, just in the centre circle is Matic. Plays the ball into Cavani. Cavani finds Twanzebe into Rashford now. Rashford drills an absolutely delightful ball to Brandon Williams. That was hit so well, accurate, like an arrow. And it comes out to Mata. Mata now across to Matic, and the momentum of the game has definitely shifted now. This is Teles. Teles, lovely ball in behind for Mata. Mata gets it across. Going to come for Cavani. Bruno Fernandes slices it well wide in the end there. Expect better from Bruno in that position. Just caught the outside of his foot and went well wide.
It's the first time Leicester have been opened up. What a brilliant run it was by Mata. Teles picks him out. It's a vital touch, I think, off Fofana that just takes the ball away from Cavani. And then Tielemans tries to clear, and it's made a bit of a hash of, to be honest. It comes to Fernandes. You really, as a United fan, your eyes are lighting up thinking Fernandes is there. He's just going to burst the net. But he just sort of, as you said, Jack, sliced it. And in the end, it went well wide of Kasper Schmeichel's goal. But it's a pretty sad thing to say that that's the closest United have come in the entirety of this second half.
Yeah, I mean, you think from that position, Bruno, you do actually expect him to score on that one. But yeah, as you say, I mean, they've had nothing, have they, the Red Devils, really? I mean, an overhit cross by Teles that nearly went in. That's about it, really, isn't it? So, yeah, they need to show a lot more, but they're certainly a lot more lively now they've got three of their big names on the pitch. This is Mata, who's starting to see a lot more of the ball as well. Into Twanzebe. Leicester have got 5 minutes plus stoppage time to cling on. Matic into Bailly. Bailly got acres of room to run into. Finds Williams into Bruno. Bruno tackled by Ndidi. Great tackle by the Nigerian. Give Bruno no space and time on the ball there.
Yeah, it was so smart from Wilfred Ndidi. This second half, I think he's been a class act for Leicester. He's just, really defended when he's had to. He's made good attacking runs. He's been involved in the attacks. But what was really interesting with United, when they were trying to move the ball forward and trying to create a chance, they had every single outfielder inside Leicester's half, which was absolutely astonishing, which just goes to show that the tide is probably turning in this game and how the complexities change as well, and the dynamics.
Oh, we had something there for a minute, but it was a lovely flick by Cavani there around the corner. Bruno trying to find Rashford. Good block by Hamza Chowdhury, which is exactly what he's been brought on to do. Get those blocks in, get those tackles in, see the game out for the Foxes. But Teles, well, on it now, in swinger. This is a decent opportunity here. Cavani's eyes lighten up. Teles whips it in. Headed away by Ndidi. Tielemans just kills it and then clears it. That was
fair play for Tielemans for taking that under control under serious pressure. Luckily for him, he had no one imminently around him, so he's able to just take it under control, look around to see where the best place is to clear it, and he just decided to just take it out a touch for a throw. But more importantly, what a vital header that was by Ndidi.
Yeah, it was because there was 3 red shirts piling in. By now, these minutes are going to feel like hours to Leicester as they tick by. This is Bruno into Matic once more. Finds Teles, who tries a clever little turn, but Albrighton reads it well, and Albrighton just hammers it away in the direction of Iheanacho. Tielemans takes a bit of a loose touch. There was otherwise a bit of an opportunity there, maybe to slip Iheanacho in and truly kill the game off, but not on this occasion. You would think that if Leicester do get the ball, Man United are playing such a high line, Iheanacho could be in with one pass.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the risk United have got to take at this moment in time.
Williams into Mata. Mata gets it in. It was allowed to bounce the ball there, but Fofana once more. Vital touch, otherwise it was going to run through for Cavani.
It's an awkward one for him to deal with because it just takes a bounce just in front of him. And he's obviously knowing that if he touches it, it's probably going to go behind him. He made sure it just stayed high in the air and it went up for a corner kick.
Ball swung in. It's a poor one, that one, really. Headed away at the front post. Picked up by Williams into Bruno. Bruno clips one forward. Doesn't reach its intended target of Juan Mata. I have to say, Donny van de Beek hasn't really pushed his claims for a starting place, has he? Been very in the periphery of things, especially in the second half.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously on the defensive front, he's been overwhelmed a little bit. I think Tielemans and Ndidi have bossed him and Matic. But, in the attacking sense, you really want him now to get forward, try and, take this game by the scruff of the neck. It is a bit of a cliche, yes. And obviously you just hope that someone for United can do that, not just him, but, someone of the quality and the reputation he came to England with. It's just completely not there. And the lack of minutes is really telling on that player, because it seems as though his confidence is completely drained and his sort of creative sort of intelligence is just drained as well.
Free kick to Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes fouled, and he has a little moan in the ear of Craig Pawson. He's certainly not opposed to that, is he, Bruno Fernandes? He likes a little moan at the referee.
I think he's got to be a referee's worst nightmare, isn't he? I think he's somebody who won't be getting a Christmas card from the referees, that's for sure.
Fernandes picks it up, but he's also involved in the game, just on the ball all the time. Here he is again. And William well, right up, glance ahead of Rash was all the way down. The ball came in, he just couldn't quite get the clean contact. Again, full catch.
No, it was a good delivery by Williams. He actually did really well to keep the attack alive, didn't he? He sent a Leicester player on the deck. He got the ball in toward Rashford. He just gets up a little bit too early, and of course his head is turned the other way, so he's never really going to get any good clean connection generated to head it towards the goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel. And instead, it's sort of just gone off the back of his head. That play for a goal kick.
You got to think about who you want to give.
Yeah, well, there's certainly a few names that I can certainly think of, Jack. That is a given. I will tell the listeners listening to our stream.
This is all Brighton. Just gonna, as we approach.
We just appear to have lost Jack there for a moment. We'll fetch him back as we enter 3 minutes of stoppage time. It's Bruno Fernandes plays ball out wide to Brandon Williams for Manchester United. Coming forward over on the far side. Back into Fernandes. Ball in towards the penalty area. Cavani was in there, but Schmeichel claims. Good save from the Leicester goalkeeper there, Matt.
Yeah, it was a really good take by Kasper Schmeichel. Really good whip on it by Bruno Fernandes. He's in that position. You don't really want to allow him the space to put the ball in. Looks for Cavani. It's just overhit, but Kasper Schmeichel's got to come out and claim it with a bit of authority, and he did just that.
He did indeed. As the ball is in towards the Iheanacho. It's tied up there by Tuanzebe and Eric Bailly. Now Bailly fetches the ball forward. Madison is charging back and looking to watch Brandon Williams on that far side. Manchester United come inside to Matic. Now it's Rashford back in to Matic, and he's out wide now to Alex Telles. Telles back to Rashford, and now Matic will let this play attack come to an end, and then we'll fetch Jack back in as Rashford finds in the man Matic, and the offside flag is up there, and good bit of play again for Manchester United, Matt, and then we'll go back to Jack after that.
Yeah, they just try and move it, don't they, from sort of back to front. Rashford is in an offside position when that ball gets played to him, but they have just tried to step it up in the last sort of minute or so. But of course, time is running out, as we know, with just under 90 seconds to go.
Apologies for that. I just got kicked out of the studio for some apparent reason. So, but I'm back now. Well covered by Russ. But yeah, running out of time are Manchester United. Leicester looking to get that huge win. That means they can focus fully on the FA Cup final and pretty much know that the Champions League is done and dusted, and they will be playing in UEFA's Premier competition next season.
Yeah, a couple more wins will do it, won't they? 8 points. It's a nice gap, isn't it? Of course, it's even more sweeter for Leicester, given what happened to them last year after that dramatic collapse. And they've been really good under Rodgers for 2 years. Mentally, they just didn't quite have it at the vital moment toward the end of last season. But this year, they're a better side for it, mentally stronger. They've improved as a team. And I think there's only one way up for Leicester, and they're just going to keep going up and up and up, aren't they? And I think one thing that you can say, there will certainly be a match for Chelsea on Saturday with that FA Cup final to come.
Yeah, it should be an absolutely intriguing battle. Certainly the tactical battle as well. Both sides like to play with the back three. but they both press very well. So yeah, I can't wait for that one really. And well, Manchester United have got less than 10 seconds to go. They're not really getting the ball forward. Tuanzebe finds Telesh. Telesh now just whips it into the box, headed away, and there goes the full-time whistle, and it's Leicester's first win at Old Trafford since 1998, and it's a massive win for their Champions League hopes, but also it means that Manchester City are Premier League champions, so congratulations to Pep Guardiola's side, but it was a hugely deserved win for the Foxes. Goals from Luke Thomas and Kaglas Sionchu give them the win, even though Mason Greenwood did pull one back, but final score here at Old Trafford is Manchester United 1, Leicester City 2. Huge win for the Foxes.
As Jack says, huge win for the Foxes as Manchester City are Premier League champions for 2020-2021 season. They've won the title again for fifth time for Manchester City after the 2-1 win for Leicester at Old Trafford. And speaking about the game at Old Trafford between Leicester and Manchester United, Matt Iles, who was your man of the match this evening?
Well, there's some names you can look at. Yuri Tielemans, I was given a lot of praise for. Wesley Fofana, but I think Wilfred Ndidi for me just shades it. Yes, he could have had a yellow card, which did maybe, you could say, plague him. But I just thought in terms of, going forward and defending, he was superb. He made some real crucial challenges. He was in the right places at the right times. Defensively, more importantly, second half, he got forward a little bit more to try and help with the attacks. And obviously, I think it really benefited, international teammate and club teammate Ian Acho as much as anything else as well. And I thought Tielemans was excellent alongside him once more. They bossed a Man United midfield that did look really disjointed and, looked like that they'd not played together in, many games, Van der Beek and Matic. But I thought Ndidi was absolutely superb today. And, he showed his class and showed why actually that, Manchester United and other clubs are actually sniffing around him, because he's a talented player, as we know. And he just seems every year to just get better and better.
It does indeed. And just one final before we wrap up this evening, I'll come to you for this one, Jack. Jack, you've just heard man of the match there, who's been given to Wilfred Ndidi. Would you tend to agree with that shout or not?
Yeah, I wouldn't actually have given him man of the match. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and I've got no, I can't argue with Matt giving him that or BT giving him that. But for me, Tielemans was man of the match. He absolutely controlled that midfield. He, especially in the second half, he just dictated everything, all those clever passes in behind, but also he tackles well and he works hard. He's played every single league game now, this season. So he's got a ridiculous engine on him. I love watching him. He's only 24. He's only going to get much better. So for me, Yuri Tielemans was my man of the match.
Yes, and before me and Jack continue, I just want to say, Matt, just fit you back in for one final moment. I know you've got to shoot off in a second, but I just want to say congratulations on an excellent commentary. And just one quick word from you, Matt. Manchester City are champions again, Premier League champions for 2020-2021 after that win for Leicester tonight. Do you feel Man City deserve to win the title?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, obviously there was a lot of questions about them in the early part of the season, wasn't there? I mean, Leicester, when they beat them 5-2, you wouldn't have expected Manchester City to almost be, near perfect to the Premier League and obviously sweep all before at home and abroad. But they've been fantastic. Ruben Diaz coming in has been a massive influence in their attack. Is always going to be there under Pep Guardiola, but their defence has just gone on completely different levels. They are, for me, I think they are the best side in the world. It might be a bold statement, and obviously Chelsea could beat them in the Champions League, but you look at their depth, it's incredible. They played obviously on Saturday against Chelsea. Yes, they lost, but they had Laporte in there, who a few years ago was the best centre-back in the league. He's barely got a look in this year because of how good Diaz and how good John Stones have been. You've got De Bruyne, you've got Foden, who's probably the best English talent that is currently part of this generation. They're just a phenomenal team. They're just a relentless winning machine. 2 out of 3 trophies won. But the big one is obviously to come at the end of May, which obviously is going to be the one that Guardiola certainly loves the most out of any of them. But yeah, thoroughly deserve to be Premier League champions, and congratulations to them.
Yes, and Mel, we're going to let you enough now. You've got other commitments to go through for the final one this evening. So thank you very much for joining us, Matt, and we'll see you again soon, mate. Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for obviously having me as the co-commentator, and just a special mention to the main commentator, Jack. Absolutely exceptional performance again, and I look forward to working with him and you again, Russ, very, very soon.
Yeah,
Thanks,
cheers,
Matt.
Matt, and we'll catch you again
Much
soon, mate.
appreciated.
Matt has had to shoot off to another commitment now, so I'll just fetch Jack in now with the result after Leicester won tonight. Manchester City are champions. Matt just said there a few minutes ago before he had to shoot off, a few seconds ago before he had to shoot off, that they are deserving champions for him. Would you say that's the same, Jack?
Yeah, no, totally deserved champions. I mean, they had a pretty rough start. They were like 14th for a point from what I remember. But then they just went on this relentless roll. I think they won 25 of 26 games or something ridiculous like that. And they're totally deserved champions. I mean, Ruben Diaz, Stones have totally transformed. And they obviously is going for, but they're not a striker anymore. So yeah, they're totally deserved champions. I think Man United have actually been worthy contenders of second place. Clearly, though, they've got some improvements to make. It's clear that Ollie relies on that starting 11 to get the results and maybe the odd other player. But tonight they proved the other players maybe aren't up to scratch or need some more game time. So it'd be interesting to see what happens next season there. Chelsea are going to be a force under Tuchel next season as well. So you would expect Liverpool aren't going to be as bad next season as well. So this season, City totally deserve champions. I think next season it'll be a lot closer run race.
Yes, and Joe, just one final one before we finish off, just touching on tonight's winners, Leicester City there. Leicester have won tonight 2-1, which have obviously given Manchester City the title. We'll just wrap up. We're going to wrap up in a second. Yeah, just want to ask you, with the FA Cup final on the horizon for Leicester, which is this Saturday 5:15, do you feel Leicester could potentially win the FA Cup final if they play like they have tonight, or do you feel there's some work needs to be done?
I think they can win the FA Cup final. Chelsea are, being transformed under Tuchel. Really strong team, playing such good football. Don't really concede many goals, but unless they play like this, they could easily win. Yeah, I totally believe they could win. It should be a brilliant cup final, because it's two managers who are on the top of their game tactically. And they both play similar systems, so it should be a really, really entertaining, maybe not entertaining free-flowing football, but really entertaining game for the tactical sort of side of things. And whoever, at the end of the day, whoever comes out on top will be deserved winners, but they'll have to work hard for it. I don't think Chelsea are going to turn up and stroll it. Leicester are going to give them a really tough game, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Foxes win, to be fair.
Yes, and just we're going to wrap up now in a second. Just going to bring a stat in, which I don't know if you all might notice during the commentary, Jack, but I noticed this as well. Bruno Fernandes hasn't scored from open play for Manchester United since 14th of February 2021. And also there was some breaking news during the second half of the game this evening. Southend United have confirmed Phil Brown has agreed a new contract to remain as their manager. Took charge of the final 6 games of the League 2 season after Mark Mosley was sacked. He had them to 3 wins, 2 draws and a defeat from the final 6 games. And Brown has said in a statement on the Southend United website he has signed a 2-year contract. The results, which there's some matches which have just going into the second half now, and in the National League is Aldershot 0, Yeovil 0, Solihull Moors 1, Weymouth 1, Stockport 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 1. Currently in the first half is Chesterfield 0, Kingsley 0, Maidenhead United 0, Notts County 1, Wealdstone v Bromley is goalless as well. In the Scottish Championship, Edgeronians and Cove Rangers are goalless. Green and Morton leading 1-0 in the Scottish Championship playoffs. And in Scottish League One playoffs, Dumbarton 0, Stranraer 0, Edinburgh City 0, Elgin City 0, and in La Liga, Osasuna beat Cadiz by 3-2. Elche currently losing 1-0 against Alaves. That is about to start in the second half. Southampton Crystal Palace is starting in about 15 minutes time. We'll not be able to bring you that one tonight. Join us again tomorrow when we'll have coverage of Chelsea against us with either myself or John Stuttard, but we'll let you know in advance on the Twitter sphere. So stay tuned and we'll see you soon. Take care from myself, Jack, and of course Matt. Thank you very much for listening, guys. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.